Herman, what have you done? Turned PlayStation's kingdom into a graveyard of fun. You bet all your chips on the long service spree, but the fans only asked for Bloodborne on PC. You whisper to Aloy, you'll lead us to gold, but all that we got was the same game result. Like your service dreams, oh they burned in the night, like a Discord server in a fanboy fight. Spin, Herman, dance through the fire. You sold us the dream, now you're stuck in the mire. A light service graveyards, abandoned and cold, like a PS portal nobody holds. Towers of gas stations climbing so high, but no one can see through the cash grab disguise. Fair games, oh fair, what a terrible name. Stealing from the rich, Sony's playing that game. You said lip service is future, just give me some time. But now you're demoted, oh what's a decline? Naughty Dog stranded, the last of us cursed. The only thing alive is your PR rehearsed. Spin, Herman, your fate is unkind. Ryan has left you, now what's Sony blind? Your horizon obsession, your service collapse. Your legacy's buried in overpriced scraps. A decade you reigned, but the players withdrew. Aloy can't save you, she's also confused. The fans wanted Kratos, they wanted a thrill, but you chased dollar signs and swallowed the pill. Spin, Herman, your tango is done. They stripped you of power, they fired the gun. The studios are tired, the players all fled. Your legacy lives, but only in red. Spin, Herman, your tango is done. They stripped you of power, they fired the gun. The studios are tired, the players all fled. The legacy lives, but only in red.
Welcome everybody. 'Tis a beautiful day to talk about games. How are you? How are you all? Are you vibing? Are you living the life, you know? Or are you just tackling the day one day at a time? You wake up first thing in the morning and you say, you know what?
Time to play the game.
I'd respect it if that's how you did it. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. You got to tackle it however you see fit. But today we've got a good amount of stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about, of course, Marathon, because since last stream, the embargo lifted, so I can talk about that a bit. And yeah, we'll talk about pricing. I'll share some little tidbits and stories that I found out about while I was chilling with the devs, because there's been some stuff I think people have brought up that are very, very solid, and I'm really, really glad other people are bringing it up too, because I felt like I was going crazy a little bit. But we'll talk about all that, because there is some stuff that maybe others are not aware of that could be reassuring, and then there's also some other red flags that we'll mention as well that have not been brought up. But we'll get through all of that. PlayStation just raised the price of the PlayStation 5 in a bunch of different markets as well, because of course they did. So we'll touch on that. Yeah, there's a good amount of stuff. Apparently there was some article randomly dropped by Insider Gaming mentioning a portable PlayStation 6. So we'll talk about that. Because I didn't know anything about that, but apparently they're planning on developing like basically their own Series S that is a handheld for the next gen that will launch like in tandem. We'll talk about it. It's confusing. Yeah. it looks like they straight up might just do what Xbox did this gen, where they have a really underpowered PlayStation that holds them back. We'll see. We'll see. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Is the tech even there yet? Nope. Man, I mean, I think their hope is eventually to just solely rely on cloud streaming, and that'll bypass all of it, but we'll see. We'll see. I also want to talk briefly about the Minecraft movie, because one of our own, Jacob, and some of you guys that are in our brand new Discord server saw the movie, and we're going to talk about what you thought about it. I've not seen it, and you guys are going to, I have a feeling, reassure me that I'm not missing much. So we'll talk about that. Because, jeez. And then also in the last like 30 minutes ish, there was a brand new Star Wars game announced from one of the most prolific, in partnership with one of the most prolific video game developers in the last decade. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's called Star Wars Zero Company. It was announced just about 30 minutes ago. I'm keeping you in suspense. We'll talk about it in just a second. Real quick, first of all, I have to say thank you to Alejandro, who just sent in a $5 super chat. That's most definitely what's up. Howdy, brother. Anytime you talk about our Todd and Savior, praise be. Todd Howard, the song by the Chalk Eaters, plays in my head. I'm not sure. The Chalk Eaters, Todd Howard. Is that? No, I'm thinking of Tell Me Lies, Sweet Little Lies. I'll have to look that up. I'll copy and paste it. And thank you. May Todd be with you, everyone in chat. May Todd be with you. Oh, I have seen this. Yes. The second I saw the like jib jab art style on the thumbnail. Yeah. Okay. I'm tracking. Okay. I've heard that. That's a very good song. And also with you. Thank you, ZG. You got it.
May Todd be with you and also with you.
Maybe one day we do just like a straight up, I hire a stonemason or something to carve out like an actual statue and effigy of Todd. And then we like bury it in a forest somewhere so that archaeologists find it in like 1,000 years and like, this was their deity. Wouldn't that be so funny? That is so expensive. I've never hired a stonemason, so I have no idea how much it costs. But surely there's like a sculpting student who could use some cash, and we throw. Okay, when you say a lot, how much is a lot? Because just for the memes, this would be invaluable. I mean, but we would need two, because I would need one to put next to the other bust that I have. So we would need two. So it could get expensive. Yeah, you can't just have one bust of Todd Howard carved. You have to have a family of them, don't you? $20K, and then somebody else says $500 or $200. Okay, so we just don't know. Okay. double what Jack said. So you're saying like 4. I have no idea. Jack, thank you for the 5. Luke versus Maddie plays influencer boxing. Who y'all got? That would be funny. Yeah, it would just be two worlds colliding. What was that chess boxing that they did? I still don't understand how that worked. Chess. Maybe I can have like Google explain it. Explain chess boxing, because isn't that what Ludwig did? Competitors alternate between rounds of chess and rounds of boxing, with the goal winning either by checkmate or chess or knockout in boxing. Look how insane this is. Maybe we do that. I'd be down for that. I'm sorry, I just love the idea that these really sweaty guys sit down and are playing chess in between rounds of boxing. It's really funny. You know what? Maybe we do that. Maybe we do that. That could be fun. I'm a mean chess player, I'll tell you what. You don't mess with me. You don't mess with. I used to take it very seriously. I used to go to tournaments. I used to compete very, very fervently. Back in the day, in my prime, 2011, I tied for first place in the Colorado Scholastic Chess Championships. Technically, there was an age group above us, but like the highest rated player in our age bracket was like 2100. Who's this savant? Jackson Chen. That guy was built different, okay? And then above us, there was another age group like the high schoolers, but their highest rated player was like 1680 or something. Like he was he was like middle of the pack for our bracket. So it wasn't like taken that seriously, but yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Was Jackson Chen Asian? I think we can put 2 and 2 together there. I think we can figure that out. I challenge you to Wizards chess. Yeah. Dude, maybe me and Todd, if we ever meet up, we play a game of chess. Because he said he was in the chess club, and I was too. I was the captain of our chess club. Yeah. I led us to like 6 out of 7 like state championships that we played in. We won them. Wasn't even close. Because a lot of other schools, they would have one really good player. We had a lot of really solid players. And then like a couple that were really good. But yeah, it's just different. Dork. Yeah, dude, for real. Only 6. I know. We fell through. Jacob played chess for a little while. Then he got distracted. Yeah, he didn't do that. Humble bragging about chess is sick. That's what I'm saying, dude. I'm just saying, if we ever did it, we could do it. I've wanted to get back into it. I mean, obviously, I showed you guys my new chessboard. I've wanted to get back into it. The tricky thing is that it's like surprisingly difficult where I'm at to find like a good chess club to join to play people over the board. You can do it online, of course, but it's just different when you play in person. And I greatly prefer it. But there used to be a chess club at the college at CSU's, the CSU Chess Club or whatever. But naturally, because it's at the school, it's run by students. And eventually those students graduate. And once they graduate, it's up to the new students to take it over and keep running it. And eventually they just stopped. So it's just gone now. But what are you going to do? True, chess is a face-to-face game, in my opinion. Yeah, it's just, I like... You can play Blitz and Bullet online, and that's great and fun and fine. But once you start to get to like 15-minute, 20, 30-minute time controls, or what you do in tournaments, like the tournaments that I was playing in, it was 2 hours for the first 40 minutes, an hour for the once you hit that time control. So these were 6-hour games. And you can't do a 6-hour practice game on chess.com. It just doesn't work. And even if you did it, the odds of the other person using like a cheat or an engine or Googling an opening line or something skyrocket. Whereas playing in person, you just sit there and you do it. You start playing at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. You probably don't do a 6-hour game, but you probably do like a 2-hour game. Each player gets an hour or something. Do it that way. You know, it works well. Yeah. Forgot the streamer's name, but he was so used to playing online that when he played in person, he kept reaching for the mouse. Okay, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Well, it's also, there's a lot of like etiquette with playing over the tabletop that is lost when people play online a lot. Like one of the most insulting things you could do, you could actually get like severely penalized in tournaments with it, is like you have the clock on one side and of course the board there, and people would, who didn't have a lot of experience, they would play with like their right hand and press the clock with their left. So they do this, which you cannot do. You have to press the clock with the same hand you moved with. And if it's on the other side, that's just what you do. But you'd see that all the time. Or you see people like when they castle, they'd grab both pieces at the same time and do it. Can't do that. Yeah. There was a story of Bobby Fischer. He got severely offended when somebody he was playing slid the chess piece. It was like a bishop, and he was sliding the bishop, and he picked the base up and angled it up so it came off the board. and plopped it down. Now, to be fair, Bobby Fischer was insane, so that was a big part of it. He was like outside of his mind. Yeah, the story of Bobby Fischer is crazy. If you ever feel like going down a very depressing rabbit hole, look up Bobby Fischer. Jesus Christ. I'm still searching for him. Yeah, oh, that's a throwback. That makes it sound so insufferable. Yeah, to be fair, give me lucky. 99.999% of players don't care. The reason that the clock button is a rule is because if you're using both hands, you move the piece, somebody can press the clock before they finish the move. And that's just not fair. So the rule is you press the clock with the same hand that you move the piece with. So by the time you press the clock, your move has been finished. That's why it's a rule. Same with like most tournaments, they do touch moves. So you touch a piece, you have to move that piece. If you touch the pawn, you have to move that pawn now. And if you take your hand off and you try to move the knight, then nope, you got to move the pawn. And it's also just a way of preventing people from being like, no, maybe no. Or like they pick it up and they look around it as if that helps. And so they just try to stop that. And initially it takes some getting used to, but you get used to it pretty quickly. It's just, growing pains. You gotta learn it. But that's true of any type of thing. Like the Masters just happened. Did you know at the Masters golf tournament, like you're not allowed to have phones on the course? Yeah, even as a spectator, they don't allow phones. You have to like leave them in the car. And if they see you with a phone, you get kicked out. It's just the rule of the sport. There's also like a dress code. And to a lot of people who are not in that world, that seems crazy. Like you can't even have your phone to like take a picture. Nope. Which I honestly love. I love that because it's like, yeah, you're at the Masters. You can focus for 10 minutes. There's $1 million cameras all around the course filming. They will get a better shot than you. And you can show that to your friends. But just be in the moment. Like that's okay. Nothing drives me more crazy than when you're at an event or something and people are just like, I have to take a crappy picture to show my dog. Like, stop. Yeah, boomer. Exactly, dude. I know I'm a boomer, but I stand by it. I told you guys the story of one of the reasons I just saw like some of these TikTokers at at the Bungie event, and I made fun of them for this in person too. So it's not like I'm I'm breaking any news here. But Ubisoft Forward 2024. Okay. I was in the audience for this. Where's the stage? Show me the stage. Yeah, so I was in the audience for this, okay? It was a fairly small theater. You can't really get a good look at it from here, but it's a pretty small theater. And they did this musical little thing and they had the trailers that they showed off. Where's the part where they first came on stage? Yeah. And you know what they said? They came up to us and we're sitting in like the back right corner and the PR people said, don't take pictures on your phone. Don't take videos on your phone. We're filming it. You'll get like the raw footage recordings. So you'll have all this footage to edit with and make videos with. Just don't use your phones. You know what those guys did the second they started the event? They all stand up with their camera. They start filming. And this poor lady sitting next to me, she is like fairly short and she can't see anything. And so she's trying to like look around these guys that are filming on their phones. Oh, I've got to take a story for Instagram for the 7 people that care. Drives me crazy. Put her on your shoulders. Ma'am, I got you. It was so, especially because they very specifically said, don't do that. And they do that. It was kind of infuriating, frankly, because it was like, you don't even have the respect to like adhere to their own, like their clearly set request to not film on your phone. And they all immediately did it. And I was just like, get out of here. It's the same thing. I went to Summer Game Fest. And for those of you who remember my video or stream clip or whatever the hell we did right after it, let's see. Maybe right here. So I was sitting in this back, like over here. You know when they flash to Yong? I was like 4 rows behind Yong. I was like right next to him. So in front of me were like the Arkham Shadows team that did the VR game, the Batman VR game. But like in front of me, I think it was in front of me, was this guy that was wearing like cat ear headphones or like a beanie with cat ears or something. And he had like a little camera on like a stick looking thing, like a gimbal. And throughout the entire show, he filmed himself. And he would just like get really up close to it. Like, wow, what an amazing announcement. I can't wait to see what happens next. And he was like one of those guys you can just tell is obsessed with anime. And so he kept doing the thing. It's like the most annoying human being I've ever been in the presence with. And I've been around some crazy people, okay? I hang out with TikTokers, you know? But he was like very obnoxious because we're in this theater. It's dark. They're showing trailers and people are on stage and he's talking at full volume or even louder. So it's picked up by the microphone as the show's still going on. Behind me, there's 2 guys rambling about fighting games because they showed off some new character for, I think, Street Fighter. And they're talking about that at full volume.
Caleb donated $20 through Super Chat. Hey Luke, this is that short woman's mom and she's really upset you didn't give her a boost on your shoulders. If you could give me, and her a piggyback ride, it would mean the world to her. I mean me. I mean her.
Okay, that's a good callback. That's good. Well done, Caleb. This is that girl's mom. That woman's mom. Especially because she was like 50 something. So the idea of her like 7-year-old mom hopping in. Oh, that's funny. Oh, okay. Well done. You got me. Oh, man. Antichristo, Luke, why didn't you hit him? That's a great question, I guess. Yeah, it was just a part of the problem is at Summer Game Fest. This is what like you probably don't realize if you're just watching the show. It looks like it's a lot of industry people. Like that's what it looks like. In reality, the vast majority of the people in there are like seat fillers. So they have like this group, which is probably, this is mostly industry people. These are like devs. This is, you know, some content creators and media and stuff like that. So it's pretty lean, you know, but like everybody behind that, there's thousands more, or not thousands, maybe like 1,500 or 2,000 more seats that are seat fillers. So they're either people that paid for the public access ticket or they're from an actual company and all they do is they find people to fill in seats at these live events so that the crowds look full. It's like an actual thing that companies do, which is fine. But the problem with that when you're in the audience is that you're surrounded by these people who have like just no concern for manners and or just straight up don't even really care about what's happening and are just like on their phones scrolling TikTok or Instagram or whatever for the entire event. And it's just like makes it really hard to just enjoy it. How's that fine? It's fine if you're watching like the stream because it makes the crowd look fuller. Like that's fine. I get why they want to do it because if half the audience were empty, it would look kind of weird. So I get why it's done. But if you're in the audience, it can make it very annoying, which is why like for this coming year, I don't know if I'll go to the actual live event. Like I got to meet Sven from Larian, the guys that did Baldur's Gate 3. That was cool at the little dinner party afterwards. Got to play Space Marine 2 early at the event after the show. But the actual show itself, I was like, I could co-stream this and probably have a better time. Like honestly. Ugh. Yeah, seat fillers are pretty standard. Yeah, it's a very standard thing in like the entertainment industry. Even the Oscars use seat fillers, which you might not know, but yeah, the Oscars even use seat fillers. But it just makes it so if you're actually in the audience, it can make the show significantly more annoying. Did I see the first episode of The Last of Us? No, I've not watched it yet. I think I'm going to wait till there's like 2 or 3 episodes and then I'll start. Especially because I heard that the first episode was really slow and like just wasn't that great. Which is fine. Like they have to build it up. They have to lay the foundation. It's pretty standard for like a lot of shows where the first episode is like really kind of a trudge. But we'll see. We'll see. Same. That's what I do. Yeah. I don't love the I don't know. I like to be able to binge. You know, if there's a really good episode and I'm like, ooh, I want to see what happens next. I like being able to hit next episode. You know, like we were watching Severance the other night, season 2 of Severance, and something happened and I was like, I gotta see where this is going. So we just watched the next episode. And I like being able to do that instead of having to wait a week, you know. It's gonna drop when Joel dies. If he dies, no, yeah, I'm very interested to see how the broader public reacts to it, because there's a lot of people out there who are watching the show that don't know what's about to happen, you know. Severance is really good. I'm not done with season 2, but my only fear is that they're going to do a Lost thing where they set up all these crazy mysteries and there's no answer. They just were hoping they'd stumble into it. I hope there's actual answers and it's not just them making stuff up on the go.
Vendor the Offender donated $10 through Super Chat. I'm going to remain skeptical about Marathon. 2 reasons. 1. It releases the same day as Borderlands 4.
Yeah, how bold is
2.
that?
Still in an alpha state with 5 months to go.
Yes. Thank you, Bender the Offender, for 10. And yeah, I think that this is a really good thing to bring up. Also, thank you, Clonius, for the 2 asking about Marathon. Personally thought it looked like Concord 2. We'll talk about all that in just a second. Russell Thander, thank you for that as well. I can see the layoffs coming right after Marathon, but honestly, I feel like I'm going to just save the art style as wallpaper and never touch the game at all. I mean, yeah, a lot of people love the art style. I will give them that. Elijah, thank you for the 5. Luke, you've inspired me to chase my dreams to do YouTube. I've wanted to do it since I was 13, and now I have a daughter and I want to be an example to her. Thank you. Thank you for telling me. That's so sweet. And good luck. Big thing, consistency. Try to like learn from your videos on a monthly rotating basis. I've always said if you look back even 6 months and you don't cringe at the video, you're not getting better enough. Like, you should look back at videos you made recently and be like, oh, you know, that's very normal. I look back at videos from last summer and I'm like, why did I do it like that? What was I thinking? So you have to do that. And I also insist that personality driven content is worth 10 times its weight compared to topic based content. It's something I talked to a lot of those TikTokers about at the Marathon event when we like got dinner. Is that a lot of their content is based on topics where they do like 15 videos on Marvel Rivals while it's trending. Then they do 10 videos on Fortnite while it's trending. Then they do 5 videos on Assassin's Creed Shadows while it's trending. And they just bounce from trending topic to trending topic. But ultimately what you realize is that people are watching the videos for the topic, not for you. And the thing is, the topic will always change and there will always be somebody else that's bigger, has better production value, whatever else, that can cover the topic more effectively and more efficiently and faster. And so it's really uncertain. But if your content is based around you and people are coming to watch you, it doesn't really matter what you're talking about. You could ramble about how TikTokers annoyed you at a Ubisoft Forward event and you'll still have 1,400 people watching you for some reason, you know? So I would just say, be genuine. People can smell BS from a mile away, and try to constantly grow. If you look back at videos from a month ago and you're like, no, I'm happy with that, you're not being critical enough. Okay. That's what I'm saying. But thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful. Jack, again, Luke versus Maddie influencer boxing. Who y'all got? Yeah, I think that'd be fun. And maybe we do, you know, chess boxing. I'd be down for that. I think that could be cool. And thank you again, Alejandro, for getting us started on all this with the message about Todd. But circling back to what Bender the Offender brought up, also Clonius, and of course, the one and only Russell. You guys brought up Marathon. I feel like we should touch on that real quick and talk about it a tad. So, news segment. So I had the opportunity, of course, to play Marathon early at that preview event that they did. We got shown all the stuff you guys saw at the reveal on Saturday, this cinematic trailer, which whether you think Marathon as a game looks good or not, this thing was fantastically well executed. I mean, this cinematic trailer they dropped, it's from, I believe, the art director, I think it is, of Into the Spider-Verse. And dude, it's so brilliant. If you've not watched the whole cinematic trailer, watch it because it does a really good job. I think it was when they saved this until the end of the event. We watched this at the very, very end. And I think that bypassed one of the Concord problems, because the problem with Concord is they started with the cinematic trailer and people went, ooh, I like this. I kind of want to see more of this world. And then it turned out it was a 5v5 hero shooter. And people were like, okay, so we're not going to really get to explore that much. You know, it's like you're selling me on the world and then you're telling me that you only get to see glimpses of the world through the gameplay. And it's a similar thing with Marathon because it's an extraction shooter. This is not a narrative game exploring these topics, but my understanding is that they're going to have things through whether it's raids or later expansions that explore the story. But it's kind of the age-old weird thing about modern live service games where they're like, we want to have a compelling story that we tell you over a decade. And I'm like, this is cool to me. I kind of want to see this in a 20-hour dense story-based game. But you know, that's just not what this is. So perhaps it's not fair to complain about it. But the point is, this cinematic trailer is fantastic. And there's all sorts of little bitty nods to the gameplay loop once you watch this. Like what he's putting in right now is a little mod. This is something that you can bring with you on runs. It's part of the loot that you get to improve different abilities and stuff. So there's all sorts of little nods to the gameplay in this trailer. And if you end up playing the alpha, you'll watch this again and be like, oh, I see all the little bitty nods that they did. So it's well executed. That being said, the game itself is what really is important, because the story can be cool, but it's an extraction shooter. This is not a narrative game. You know, if they said that this is a single player turn-based RPG that's 50 hours long, then the story and world building and stuff is really crucial. For a live service like extraction shooter, I'm not sure it's that crucial, but it's nice to see that at least that part is compelling. But the gameplay is really at the core. And this is perhaps where people's expectations were conflicted, because I think some people were expecting something truly revolutionary because they have hyped it up a lot. But what it ultimately is a character-based or hero-based extraction shooter based on teams of 3. It does have phenomenal gunplay, which you would expect from Bungie. There's no mystery there. And you don't have to believe me. I mean, they had Valorant streamers and pros there that, and like Tarkov players and stuff that are very, very talented, far better than me. And they were praising the gunplay like crazy, like mad. So it is a strength of the game for sure. But there's a few major sticking points for me, okay? Number 1 is replay value, because when you're talking about an extraction shooter, it's basically one game mode on repeat ad nauseum. You know, it's one version, one loop, one gameplay loop that you're engaging with. They're hoping for hundreds of hours, maybe even thousands. So that core loop has to be really, really solid. And as part of that, you also have to have phenomenal loot. You have to have character build outs that make sense. And if you've not played extraction shooters, you may not realize how crushing the tilting experience can be. Because what happens is you load into a match, you bring a shotgun, or you bring a loadout, shields, backpacks, whatever else, mods, healing items with you on the run to make the run easier to complete and safer if you run into an enemy team or something. But if you get killed, your stuff can be taken. All that stuff you grinded for hours and hours and hours, it can all be taken. And once that happens, it's really easy to get tilted and spiral and fall down the slope of mediocrity and misery, where you just keep doing poorly, and pretty soon you've lost everything you spent 10 hours gaining. And it's super frustrating. It's very rage-inducing. Now, on the flip side, you can also be the one dealing that out, not just receiving it. So for one person to have that miserable thing where their day is just ruined because they lost the really valuable thing they had, you can be the one stealing it from them. And that feels fantastic. And that makes those deaths feel worth winning. And this is where a key stat, which I realize I didn't really bring up in my video, is needing to be discussed. And that is survival rate or extraction rate. That's a crucial thing, because if you think about an extraction shooter that has PvPvE, so you're fighting against other players and environmental enemies, hazards, that type of thing. Survival or extraction rate is pretty important, because if you're getting out, say 90% of the time, that's going to make those deaths feel much more significant, right? But if the survival rate or extraction rate is down at like 20-30% and you're not likely to survive, then that makes extracting and getting out with stuff feel way, way better, right? And that maybe discourages you from bringing a lot of really cool stuff with you, because the odds of you getting out are very, very low. And this is one interesting thing. They're fine-tuning it, but they're actively balancing this in a way where each match or each map will have a different target extraction rate. So the 3 maps that they plan to have at launch will have 3 different tiers of basically difficulty or survivability or extractability. So their goal is to basically have it, my understanding is the first map that we didn't get footage of, that we couldn't share footage of, that map is expected to have an extraction rate around like 40 to 50%. The second map, a little bit less, maybe floating between 35 and 45%. The third map should be way harder and should go down to like probably between 30 and 35%. And they said that the fourth map that comes after launch, that they are very excited about, this was one of the things they thought that was going to be revolutionary, that we'll talk about more in a minute, is it's a map set on the Marathon ship. And they said that that is targeted towards endgame players. So you're probably only going to start to engage with that after like 60, 70, 80 hours, when you have like purple gear and you're really kitted up. And they said the survival rate on that is probably going to be even lower, like 20%. So literally you go on 5 runs on that ship, you probably survive once, which is just something to think about, because they're trying to build a game where when you do extract, it feels like a win, not like you just did what you're supposed to do, you know? But that makes it feel much different than some other games that are much easier to extract. You just might not get much stuff. In this, just getting out is supposed to feel like a major W. Now, with all that, if you just look at the footage, you know, what I can say is, having played it, I had fun. I don't know if there's enough content here to justify a premium price tag, though, frankly. Like, I had fun, but I would be kind of peeved if I paid $70 for what I played. What I played was an alpha build, though, so it's going to be bigger and better, you know, when it launches, of course. But I don't know if it's a premium product in my mind yet. Part of that is because the maps are quite small. There's only one game mode, really. And there's nothing here that feels genuinely revolutionary. It feels almost more like a spin-off of Apex Legends than anything else, which surprised me. But I mean, even down to the shielding mechanic you can see down here, this works the same way as Apex Legends, which is funny. Yeah, as for price, yeah, so just to mention the price real quick, they have not confirmed what the price is. They said it's, quote, nowhere near full price, which today is 70, 80 bucks, whatever. So they say it's not going to be full AAA pricing, but it will be a premium product. So it seems they're targeting somewhere probably between 30 and 50 bucks. I asked them, multiple people, devs and PR, like marketing people, and they were all saying that they knew the price, but they wouldn't tell me. One guy was like, one guy was the AI, he was like an AI engineer. And he ate lunch with us on like the second day, I think. And he, very, very nice guy and wicked sharp, knew the inner workings of the game like crazy. But he was saying like, oh, I know the price. We all know the price. We're not going to tell you though. It's like, okay, fair enough. Whatever. So they do know. They do know. They make it out like they are set on the price. I have a sneaking suspicion they might be waiting till the feedback of the alpha playtests and see if they can get away with 50. But yeah, this is probably going to be a like $40 game, would be my guess. Is 40 that has a battle pass, that has like cosmetic microtransactions and stuff like that. That would be my guess. So bear that in mind while we look at this, because as we saw with Concord, which was a solid game, it was just a game nobody wanted, and it wasn't original. It didn't have anything like special in it. That was a premium product, and so it didn't even matter like if the gunplay felt kind of tight and pretty solid. The movement was pretty good. It didn't matter because people scoffed at the price and moved on. With this, though, there's a couple of differences. For one, they're marketing it much more heavily, and they are trying to get streamers and content creators involved from the outset, which Concord did not do at all. So I think at the outset, they're going to be on a better foot compared to Concord.
Victor Torres donated $10 through Super Chat.
Thank you,
Hey,
Victor.
Luke,
Thank you.
I love the content. As much as I love the aesthetic of Marathon, I can't help but to feel like the game looks unfinished from previews. I'm talking about graphics, looking low res at times.
Part of it, so, I mean, the first thing, thank you for the 10 again, very generous. The first thing is, it is literally unfinished at this point. It is an alpha. So there were certain like UI elements that were missing. There were certain assets that were missing. I think it's part of the reason we weren't allowed to capture footage of the first map is because there were a few like placeholder assets and stuff. So it is unfinished. The other thing that I told them, and I told Lars, one of the senior designers, this, I thought the grass and foliage looked way too flat. I was like, I understand what we're doing. Like they want to have these kind of dualities of high tech, hyper simplistic, like flat colors, flat textures, that type of thing, mixed in with some like rougher textures on finer detail, like, you know, the gloves being a little bit more detailed, but then other things being just flat. So it's a very like specific and unique art style, but they followed it over to the grass, and it makes the grass look super like Breath of the Wild-ish. And I just don't personally think it looks very good. And I think that's part of the reason that it looks really flat in a lot of these shots. But it will be overhauled. It will look a lot better, but yeah, it is unfinished. I mean, it is an alpha build. That being said, it did run really well on the computers that we had. We were playing on PC, and for an alpha build, it ran way better than I was expecting. I've done a number of alpha play tests, and it was not that great. Now, people around me, there was one person behind me who had a crash, one person next to me who I think had 2 crashes. That's very normal in an alpha playtest thing. I mean, even in some beta playtests, you have crashes that don't end up in the final game. But for me, my anecdotal experience was the game ran very well, which I'm pleasantly surprised by. And there were a lot of, normally they also don't let you go into graphics settings. They let us tweak it however we liked. So like I cranked the FOV up. They had it set at like whatever, 85, 90, and I cranked it up to like 110. And they normally don't let you do that, but they let us do that, which was kind of cool. Thank you, Zach.
Zach Michaelis donated $10 through Super Chat. $40 with only 3 maps and 6 characters at launch, and with the "we all add more at a later date" doesn't go over well with most people. I've lost my trust with Bungie. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and you know, this is somebody reached out. One of the other people that was at the event reached out to me, and they're like, I'm honestly surprised at the reactions to this, because I thought people would be really stoked on it. And there are a lot of people stoked on it. For example, like their Discord server, which is accepting applications for the alpha, apparently like they crashed one of the local Discord servers because so many people were trying to log in to apply for alpha codes. So there is a lot of interest. I mean, they might not be talking about it that publicly because they don't want to be bullied on X, because that's just kind of how gaming discourse is nowadays. But like there is interest. Whether it's enough to like make this game successful is another question entirely, but there are people that are going to try it at least. But there is an understandable amount of skepticism, as I think there should be, on live service games, especially from PlayStation, after the Concord debacle. You know, there's a lot of hesitance. And when you are offering a premium product in an age where most of these like multiplayer games come out free to play, like of course we can look at exceptional games like Marvel Rivals, but those exceptions are making up a huge proportion of what players are spending time playing. So they're pointing to games like Fortnite, like Call of Duty Warzone, like Marvel Rivals, and they're pointing to those and being like, see, those are free and they have amazing value to players. So why would I pay $40 for this? And we can compare, we can be like, well, this is a premium product, they put more money into this, or whatever else you want to say. But the customer's always right. Like if that's what the players are feeling, that this isn't worth the premium price tag, that's what you got to deal with. And that's why it's going to be kind of tough. Now, I do think for extraction shooters specifically, it is, I think extraction shooters specifically can get away with charging a premium price at the outset more than other types of games because of the rage quit factor is what I'll call it. Because this is a game that will be very easy to rage quit. And if it were free to play, I think you'd have a lot of people loading in, playing around, getting curb stomped, and then uninstalling and never touching it again. And I don't think they want that. I think they want people to come in, try the first round, they get curb stomped, and they go, okay, what did I misunderstand? I paid $40 for this. I need to at least figure out what I'm doing here, and try round 2 and try round 3. And then they start to figure it out and understand. And I think that will help a lot. But I think that's part of the reason they're pricing is because they want to avoid that just quick pop in, rage quit, bash it on social media because you tried a round of it. That's what they're doing. And also, transparently, they are looking a lot at games like Tarkov. And Tarkov, as I think most of us know, has some of the most aggressive monetization of any game that's out there right now. I mean, it's kind of laughable. Okay, like it's crazy. So I think that's also part of it. Is they're like, hey, if Tarkov can do it, why can't we?
Dream Corridor donated $10 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Do you think that the mixed reception for Marathon has more to do with Bungie as a developer, or do you think it's linked to Sony and its history with pushing live service?
I think it's both. You know, Bungie, I think a lot of people are frustrated with Destiny 2 and the long-term support there. So I think that that's a part of it. And I also think that shout out Jack.
Jack Smith donated $9.99 through Super Chat. Poop.
Yeah, I thank you for that. Thank you for the poop. And thank you, Dream again. I think that there's a couple of factors with it. It's also just really common nowadays when a new live service thing is announced to just start with a very negative outlook. And part of it is because a lot of people for the last like 5 years have felt, and I would say justifiably so, that live service has been kind of corrupting the industry and has been leading to a lot of wasted talent and time and money and resources. And so people are really bitter about live service as a thing, as a concept. Now, in the case of Bungie, they are literally a live service studio. This is what they do. They were never going to make another like single player narrative FPS. That's just not what they do. So, but that's why I think you see Bungie fans flooding their Discord trying to join and get into the alphas. Whereas I think a lot of other players are, you know, bouncing off of it very, very quickly. But, yeah, I think with this, the reception being very skeptical, I think is very reasonable, you know, because what they showed and what they have to show is not really that compelling for a premium product. I understand why people are looking at it being like, so this is all we'll be doing. And I will say that having played it, I could see putting 10, 20 hours into it pretty easily. I don't know how I would put hundreds into this. I just frankly don't. And it brings me back to what I mentioned at the outset, which is the idea of this being a revolutionary game. When we first arrived at Bungie, they took us into the Bungie Theater, where they do like presentations and stuff. So we sat in there and they basically gave the elevator pitch for the game, then showed like the gameplay trailer and explained to us how the previews would work and all that. But as part of that elevator pitch, they described this as they hope to revolutionize the extraction shooter genre and bring it to console gamers and create, the Bungie spin on it. That's what they were aiming for. And that's great. I can understand why you would want to do that. Yeah, of course you want to revolutionize it. But I didn't see anything that was really revolutionary. And we did our playtest for the morning, and then we went to lunch. And at lunch, at our table came Joe, the game director, who previously, this is important to remember, the guy running Marathon, directing Marathon, was the previous game director of Valorant. This is not a noob, okay? This guy knows what he's doing, okay? He really, really knows what he's doing. So he's at our table, and Lars is at our table too. And he's also a senior designer, like an OG. And I asked him, I was like, so you mentioned in the presentation that you aim for this to be revolutionary. What would you say is really revolutionary about Marathon? Because I wanted to know out of out of the horse's mouth, what is this that you're saying? And they said, I think what we're doing with the ranked mode will be considered really revolutionary because like extraction shooters, there's been one or two that have experimented with ranked modes sort of, but it's been really, really flaky and not super robust. So we're really excited about what we're doing with ranked mode. And then what we're doing on that fourth map, on the Marathon ship map, is going to blow people's minds. It's like, okay. That fourth map, when's it coming? After launch. Okay. So one of the things that's revolutionary is coming after launch. Could be revolutionary, but that just means that maybe we should wait until that comes, right? But even then, that revolutionary thing they've already said is going to be like end game focused. So it's going to be for players that have put 60, 70, 80 hours in. So it's not like somebody can then buy it when it comes out and then hop into that revolutionary thing. They have to grind to get equipment that could then take them in there. And remember what I said earlier where they said that it maybe has like a 20-ish%, 30-ish% survival or extraction rate on that hardcore map. So you could grind for dozens of hours, get to that fourth map and lose all the stuff you'd gathered. And you can't run it again because you lost all the gear you need for it. Because like you need purple shields. Oops. So already it's like, okay. What's the other revolutionary thing? And they said, the ranked mode. Now, I asked them about the ranked mode, okay? They had ideas, but they said they hadn't built it out yet. And the game is 5 months away. And I feel like at 5 months is not that much time. Like, it's really not that much time. Now, maybe they were lying to me. Maybe they were like keeping it coy and they're like, oh, we have it built. We have a rank mode, but we can't tell them that. I don't know why they wouldn't be able to tell me that, but maybe that's what it is. But they said that they had ideas for the rank mode and it wasn't built out yet. And so it could still change. But what they were thinking was doing like an anti-system where in order to get into like a silver ranked match, you have to load in with like 2,500 credits worth of gear or 3,000 credits worth of gear. So everybody's like, there's a real chance at reward, right? And he's like, I think as we go to like gold or platinum, whatever it would be, he's like, at that point, you got to think about it because if you require like 10,000 credits, which is a lot, I mean, that's like super end game stuff loaded out in every slot. He's like, I think if you had a ranked match that's at a platinum tier and it's all crazy high end gear that people are taking, you're just going to end up with matches in high ranked that are incredibly slow. Nobody interacts with each other. Nobody fights each other because it's not worth the risk, which we obviously don't want. So they're trying to find a way to make the ranked mode such that the higher rank you get, it doesn't get less interesting as you go up the ranks because it's too risky to engage. They want to make it so, of course, even at higher ranks, it makes the games more exciting, not less exciting, right? And I don't know how you do that. And I don't think they are sure either, which is probably why they still have just ideas and haven't locked it in yet. At least based on what they told me. Again, maybe they have it locked in and they were just giving me the runaround and didn't want to tell me. But there were other things I asked them about that they just said, nah, no comment. We can't talk about that right now. Like the price. So if they weren't allowed to talk about it, I think they would have just said they weren't allowed to talk about it. But even that, like they have 5 months to build out the ranked mode, which is not a lot of time. And they say that's going to be one of the revolutionary things that they're doing here. So I'm like, okay, one of the revolutionary things comes after launch. And everybody I spoke to was really excited about it, to be fair. All of the devs, even the AI engineer guy that we talked to at lunch, he was even like, oh, it's going to blow your mind.
Dream Corridor donated $10
So I think it
through
is special.
Super Chat. Did anyone from Bungie mention a standard PvP mode with team deathmatch or anything like that?
Don't quote me on it. I believe they said there are currently no plans for that. I believe that's what they said. Because they had like a Q&A thing. I would have to check my notebook to see if I wrote it down. I think it's upstairs. So don't quote me on that, but I think they said there's no current plans. Because again, remember what I just said. They're 5 months out, and one of the 2 revolutionary things that they're talking about hasn't been built yet. I'm starting to get the feeling, and this was paired with some of the other stuff that I heard, where they kept saying like, we're still early, so please provide us your feedback so that we can make improvements and tweak it. Like, they're 5 months out. They're really not that early. And this game has been in production for 6 years. 6.
Guy Spy Danger 07 donated $10 through Super Chat.
Thank
Can
you.
you help me understand the difference in quality of a premium versus F2P game? Just seems like it comes down to it cost too much to make and not the amount of content or quality.
So free-to-play games can be, and I think this is good. You can leave this in, Jacob, in the final clip. But I think the difference is this. Free-to-play games can turn a profit in the long term with player attachments being high and with their total hours played being really high. So if you were to offer Marathon, for example, at a free-to-play price, it's free. That was the stupidest thing I've ever said. A free-to-play price. So you mean free. If you were to offer this for free, it could be profitable if you had a ton of players and those players play for dozens and dozens and dozens of hours and they buy cosmetics and stuff. Then you can turn a profit. And then you see it with games like Fortnite, with games like Marvel Rivals. They make tons of money because their player bases are so massive that even if 0.1% of those players are buying cosmetics, and they buy a lot of them, you're just printing money. The problem for a game like this is that it's inherently more niche. They will not have anywhere near the player counts as something like Marvel Rivals. Now, they're hoping that they're getting in early on this trend, on this like extraction shooter trend. I heard multiple people, not just Bungie people, but multiple like content creators too, saying that they think that this is going to be the next like big thing. They think that oh crap, what's it called? Battle Royales are on the way out, and extraction shooters will be the new streaming game. This is going to be the new thing that is big on Twitch. That's what they're saying. Okay, so I don't stream games like Tarkov or Warzone or Fortnite. I don't stream those games, so I don't know if that's true. But I heard multiple content creators, like big streamers, 1 million+ follower streamers, that were saying that they think this is the next thing. So we'll see. I honestly don't know. I don't know. But I think to start at least, it will be more niche. And so their fear is if they go free to play, that like they're not going to have a big enough player base that's going to attach. And that's the other big piece, is attachment rate to play it long term. I don't think they think the math works out, which I think they're probably right about. Because honestly, if this were free to play, like I said earlier, you're going to have a ton of people that pop in that are going to spend like an hour, maybe they play a match or two and they get killed 2 times because they didn't really know how the game worked. and they rage quit, uninstall, and move on. And that doesn't work. You know, Marvel Rivals, you pop into a match, they put you against some bots, you win a round that's super easy because you're playing against robots, and you feel like $1 million. You're like, wow, I'm good at this, even though you're objectively not because you just started. But it makes you feel good enough that you play another round, then you play another round, then you play another round, and then they've got their hooks in you. With this game, I just don't think this kind of game works that same way. I just don't think it does. And I think they know that too. And so I think they have to approach it and deal with it differently. And so I think it's the best option for them, given the type of game it is. But that just means that you have to provide enough quantity of content and high quality content that it justifies whatever price you're going to charge for it. And that's where I'm more iffy, because 3 maps that are smaller than I thought they would be, frankly, and 1 game mode basically is that's a tough sell. I think that's going to be tough to justify a high price point with. But you know, if it ends up being really, really revolutionary in the ranked mode that they throw together in 5 months, maybe that does justify it. But as of this moment, I don't blame people at all for being iffy on it, for being suspicious and skeptical. I don't blame them at all. It's very reasonable, you know? But what I will say is, having played it myself, people who say that they think it looks unfun or boring, I would say give the alpha a chance if you can, because I genuinely had fun, and I'm not a big extraction shooter guy. I've tried other games like Hunt Showdown, other games like Tarkov, and I've fallen off of them very quickly. I could see playing this, like I said, for 10, 20 hours easily. I played it 8 hours at the preview event, and I would play it more right now if I could. But does that mean that this works as an extraction shooter, as the next big live service thing that they spend, you know, something insane like $300 million on, and that they hope you have 200 hours in and that you're playing for months or years? That I'm not so sure about, you know. It needs team deathmatch. They might end up adding it. Honestly, I think it would be easier to throw together than the ranked mode. So if that's one of the things that players are telling them, like, I think you need a team deathmatch mode, I think they could throw that together relatively easily. But I think one of the other lessons that they learned from Concord, and if you watch the streams where we played it on stream, we played Concord. I was one of the 600 people that did it. If you watch the streams, you remember they had it locked so as you reach certain level thresholds, you unlock new game modes. And once you had played like 45 minutes to an hour, you had unlocked like the core game modes. But they had so few players that if you tried to go into any of the other game modes, you would not find matches within like 10 minutes. And so those game modes just were basically useless. You had to play just the quick play, because otherwise you couldn't find a match. And I think that they learned from Concord, maybe too many game modes could actually hurt. So that might be part of it. Why they're being cautious and focusing just on one mode specifically. But, you know, going back to one of the other things that I was touching on is they're 5 months out. They are saying that they don't have the ranked mode built out yet. They didn't show us any gameplay or anything of the third map because it's still being like built out and finalized. The first map we played wasn't finalized, which is why we weren't able to show you gameplay footage of it. I have a strong feeling they are being pushed to get this out. Now, we can point to the 6-year dev cycle. To be fair, Dr. Lupo said that he had been consulting on this since it was 4 people. And he had been consulting for 5 to 6 years. So presumably that means, yeah, technically it started development 5-6 years ago with 4 people. Okay, so it's not like this was a team of 200 people for 6 years. Okay, people might misunderstand that and think that, you know, it's like 250 people working for 6 years. That's not what it is. They probably only recently went to like 200, 250 people. But I do get the strong feeling that Sony is pushing them to get this out sooner rather than later, because again, all of the dialogue was, we're early, give us your feedback, we can still change stuff since we're so early. Yeah, we don't have the ranked stuff finalized, we still have to build it out. It starts to sound like it's really, really early. I asked them like how matchmaking will work. they were saying they were still bouncing back and forth about how that would work because they didn't want it to be gear dependent. They didn't want it to just be level dependent, but they didn't want newbies to be curb stomped by late game players. They were going back and forth. Lots of stuff still up in the air, which for some live service stuff, you know, that gets thrown together quickly, I'm sure that's normal. But I just am surprised that Bungie of all companies, you know, after working on this for so long, they are still, according to them, you know, very early, or you know, early in the cycle, but still only 5 months away, and launching on top of Borderlands 4, which I thought was really bold. Is that not? Maybe they are different audiences entirely, like maybe, but I don't know, man. That seems bold to launch right now. Maybe they went to see the Borderlands movie and they're like, oh, these guys are no threat. They're like, we got this. There's no way Borderlands beats us. Maybe they do that. Borderlands is PvE, yeah, but I'm just wondering if like shooter fans are going to jump in it. But the other piece is like streamers. The one thing that was very clear was that Bungie was trying to make a game not just that players would find engaging, but that streamers would find compelling. And this brings up another topic, which has been brought up a few times, which is proximity chat. Real quick. I want to know from you guys. I think I have to do it in the YouTube chat. So sorry, Twitch viewers, but I'll pull it up here. Do you like proximity chat? Okay. I'm going to just put this in here. Proximity chat, in case you are not aware, is that thing where like you're close to other players in a match and you can hear their mics, or like you kill somebody and then you can hear what's going on in their microphone. You can hear their team comms or whatever. So let me know what you think. So far, 75% are saying yes. So as you guys vote on that real quick, we'll circle back to it in a second. But if I go down to profile, yeah, here. So Tom Henderson put out this article. Bungie wants Marathon to be a social extraction experience, but the game doesn't have proximity chat. And this is something that, this is what I replied. I can say that I was at lunch when a senior designer came to our table. All 5 of us players said Prox Chat would be a great addition, and he said it was something they'd, quote, talked about a lot internally, end quote. So at least it's on the table. And that is true. Of course it's true. Can you imagine if I was like, and that's false? That is true. We brought it up because it seemed like they also were describing, we want it to feel like super engaging. And they specifically asked us, what would content creators, what would streamers like to see in this? And they said Prox Chat. Multiple people were saying, proximity chat alone can make so many viral clips. And some of the TikToker guys are like, dude, there was a period for like 2 weeks where my only clips and content were Prox Chat clips that were funny. And it's true, it makes for some very funny content. The problem is you also will inevitably run into instances where like you kill someone in the game and they just scream the N-word for 10 seconds until it clears, right? That certainly happens. And, there's all sorts of other things that they scream and come up with that I'm sure they would deem problematic. And that was basically the excuse that we were told as to why it's not there, is that it makes the game too toxic. And the game director even said, right now proximity chat, it just ends up in situations where the game is too toxic or the chat becomes too toxic. So players just turn it off. And if we tie it to core gameplay, then, you end up with a lot of players who are at a disadvantage if they don't have proximity chat turned on. I mean, I would say like grow a pair. maybe that's uncouth of me to say, but if you don't like it, turn it off. And if you're playing a competitive shooter, like if you're streaming and somebody starts screaming like the N-word like that, block them and report them.
Corridor donated $10
There are tools
Super
for
Chat.
that.
How many people use the in-game chat functionality versus their system's party chat feature? I can't even remember the last time I used the in-game voice chat feature.
I mean, I think it depends. So like when Call of Duty, I think it was Warzone at one point. They added that in, and it was something where like once that kicked off, we might still play with Discord, but I had that like proximity chat turned on in Warzone because you did have situations where it was really funny, where you like rush somebody, you down them, and they like accuse you of cheating, and it's really funny because you're like, I'm not cheating, but they think I am because I just got them so good. Or they try to scream at you, or it's an actual 10-year-old that starts yelling at you with his voice cracking. Those clips are funny. And those moments are funny. And if you really don't like it, that's okay. You just turn it off. But I do think in a game like Marathon, it would greatly benefit from it. But there seems to be a lot of hesitance. And I don't know exactly who it is that's holding it up. It could be a Sony executive decision that they're like, no, we're not doing that. It's too toxic. It could be that. It could be one senior designer at Bungie who has thin skin and doesn't like it. It's not clear, but hopefully the feedback is clear enough from the community that they decide to add it in. Because like I said, all 5 of us that were at the table, all 5 of us content creators, and I think it was 2 streamers, like 2 YouTubers, and then a TikToker. All of us said that it would be significantly better with proximity chat. And I mean, I stand by that. Like I really think it would help. So we'll see what they do with it. I don't know. But I do think they're trying to build a game that appeals to content creators and gamers as well. And I know it's really easy to like roll your eyes and be like, of course they're making a game for streamers, not just for players. Unfortunately, in the modern gaming landscape, if you are trying to make a live service game and you don't have an ability to appeal to streamers, your game is at a significant disadvantage. Their goal is to have some people where this is their main game. Look how many like Destiny streamers there are, how many Destiny YouTubers there are. And all they do is just cover that one game. They want there to be an entire network, an ecosystem of creators that are just marathon creators. That's their goal. That's what they want. I was shocked. They have like a dozen employees at Bungie, and all they do is like content creator relations. All they do is talk to streamers, talk to TikTokers and YouTubers, and like that's all they do. But it's because if they can get Lupo or like Shroud or whoever else to cover their game and to play it on stream every day for 6 months, that alone is worth millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to them. And so that's why they push it. That's why they really, really push it. That's what they did with Concord. Not really. Like, here's the interesting thing about the difference in approach. We know for a fact that Marathon has had streamers and consultants, like gaming consultants, involved since there were 4 people working on the game. That's what Dr. Lupo said. Concord did not. Concord pretty clearly had no critical feedback provided
Green
at
Corridor
any point.
donated $10 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Games that focus on using content creators as an arm of their marketing team fail more times than not. The ecosystem of streamers can be a double-edged sword.
I agree. And it's also, it's sort of one of those things where if you rely too heavily on content creators, like naturally streamers, TikTokers, YouTubers, all tend to be like fairly self-centered and self-focused. It's what will be good for me, not necessarily good for the health of the game, right? So for example, a Call of Duty streamer might really love the ability to have skill-based matchmaking turned off because he wants those clips getting 50 kills in one round of Warzone because that is good for him. That's not good for the general health of the game because every time he gets 50 kills, there's 50 people that got curb stomped who had a bad time you know? And so there's certainly a difficulty when you try to just listen to what the streamer wants, because the people they end up stomping on are the people that the streamer is streaming to. And so it just kind of spirals and ends up flopping. So there's a balancing act. Absolutely there is. Absolutely about it. Yeah, I totally agree. Streamers crying about the current Warzone is a whole thing right now, Luke. Oh, really? Oh, I've heard mostly good things about it, but streamers always do be crying. Let's be real. Let's be honest. Yeah, this is exactly what made Warzone drop off. They listened to streamers and forgot their larger player base. I think it's also Warzone just it matured and players got sweaty, and it had its time. Like, it was huge. It still is huge, to be fair, but it was gigantic. And then it just went from being gigantic to huge. And, you know, it's just a lot of players moved on and just started playing other things, you know. SBMM is legit needed for player numbers. It's a matter of how many parameters are factored into it. Yeah, Bustinut, exactly. And I think that there's plenty of solutions, whether it's having a ranked mode separate from an unranked mode, or you just do a free-for-all mode that doesn't have SBMM. Like, there are solutions to it, but the data is pretty clear that when you turn skill-based matchmaking off, it drives casual players away because the high-level players start curb stomping them. So they stop playing, and then you just end up with nothing but sweats playing each other. So you didn't actually make any progress, but cut your player base in half. Like, it's pretty clear the data supports it. But all of this going all the way back to Marathon, circling all the way back, going all the way back to that. The game, like I said, if I could play more of it right now, I would. I had fun. Do I think it's worth a premium price tag at this point based on what I saw? I'm not so sure, because there's like 3 maps, 1 game mode. And while I had a good time, I don't know if I would be playing this for more than like 15 to 20 hours total. Maybe by the time it launches and there's other stuff like a ranked mode, like new playable characters, and playing with my like friends, as opposed to some very nice, you know, other content creators that I met. Maybe that makes a big difference. I'm not sure. But I do think it has an uphill climb at this point. But I think they know that. My fear, though, is that they have an uphill climb and they have a lot still to do, and they have 5 months to do it. And I don't think it's 5 months because they wanted 5 months. I think it's Sony pushing them. Because I did not get the vibe that it was like, yep, we're in a really, really awesome spot. And yeah, we're taking our time and we're good. I have a feeling like this is going to be kind of thrown together at the last minute. So we'll see. They I'm sure have a chance to pull it off. It's not a non-zero probability or anything, but I think the play tests will say a lot. And that's why I encourage you to sign up for the alpha playtests. It's free and you can try it for yourself, see what you think of it, and provide feedback so they can make it a good game, or the game that you would potentially consider playing as well. I plan on trying the alpha when it goes up, and trying that with some friends. I think we'll play it on stream if we're allowed to. I'm not sure if we'll be allowed to, but if they end up doing a beta that is streamable, we'll do that. But either way, I think we'll talk about it. We'll keep an eye on it. But they have a lot of work to do and not a lot of time to do it. But I appreciate them taking the feedback. I appreciate them listening to it, or at least trying to listen to it. And hopefully we see some actual like action on those things, like them getting rid of the stamina meter, which is hot steaming ass right now. Hopefully they do things like, you know, actually have the ranked mode, and they have time to do that. So we'll see. We'll see. I miss her rage. Thank you.
I Miss Her Rage donated $9.99 through Super Chat. I main Destiny and feel like the Destiny community is very on the fence on it. I personally liked what I saw and enjoyed it, and am excited.
Yeah, that's also one thing I'm very curious about, because Destiny is a very different type of game than this. And I think they're hoping that some Destiny players, of course, come over, but this is kind of a game that is going to have to try to come up with its audience sort of out of thin air. And that's going to be really tough, because, Tarkov players are in deep. Some of them might come over to try this. A lot of Tarkov streamers were there. And it seems like a lot of Tarkov players, at least the streamers that I was talking to who streamed just Tarkov, they are looking for something else. They do not like supporting that studio. They do not like supporting the monetization practices that they have. They want an alternative. There just isn't really that alternative in the extraction space. We'll see. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see who this connects with, because I don't think they even are sure exactly who this will click with, but I think that's part of the idea, is that they are hoping that it's just kind of unique and players hop over, try it, and fall in love with it, and this becomes their new main game. And it's why Joe Ziegler, the game director, he said, I'm not trying to build a game competing directly with other games. I'm not trying to take players from Tarkov or take players from Apex or take players from Valorant. I'm just trying to make a good game that I have fun playing and that I want to play. And if I do that, I feel like other people will come. Which, honestly is kind of a refreshing philosophy, instead of just trying to splice together 15 different mini versions of different games. But we'll see. One thing, this is another little tidbit. Please, for the love of God, do this. I don't remember if I mentioned this in my video, but I did mention it to the devs. I mentioned it to Lars, one of the senior designers. When you kill somebody, so they go down, as you can see here, he downs this player. And once they go down, yeah, so you can see here.
Markel Haynes donated $9.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
I'm not interested in hating on games, but I would love for this or Arc Raiders to get me into extraction M shooters.
Yeah, they can be very fun. They can also be infuriating, which is something I learned hard. It was, again, I won't say specifically who it was, but there's a team behind us. There were people in that team you would know. And they, on the first day, had a hell of a time. They said they had lost, I think they said 8 matches in a row. So literally all the loot they had gathered for hours, all of it was gone. They had nothing. It was like they were starting the game over from scratch after losing 8 times in a row. And they told me at dinner, they're like, yeah, we were not having fun. They're like, we were not having fun. And, they eventually made a comeback, and they started to have a really good time, and they felt really good about that. But
Dream Corridor donated $20 through Super Chat. Is something wrong with developers nowadays? How can you have a game in development in one form or another for 6 years and still not be ready? We need a conversation about where time and resources are spent at these studios.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I think it's different for different studio philosophies. A lot of games are very iterative. So they build one version of the game and then they strip stuff out. They put something in, then they strip that out. They put something new in. So the game it's not big, but hopefully it's polished. That's the idea, is that you're not going broad, just making a ton of stuff, attaching it. You're focusing on the little bitty thing, and you're just taking out the little bits that don't work and polishing the little bits that do. That's the idea, at least. But also with Marathon, we know it looks like it was restarted at least once. Joe Ziegler, the game director, I don't believe was working on this from the outset. He came in, you remember we reported on it. He came in a few years into development, and he was the one that transitioned it into a hero-based game. Prior to that, Marathon was set up similar to Tarkov, where it was just everybody has the same exact player skeleton, basically, and it's the gear exclusively that makes them unique. Yeah, because he's from Valorant. Exactly, that's his background. So, yeah, it was Christopher Daniels. So there was a version of this that was just much more flatly Tarkov, it seems. And Joe came in later and then rebooted it into this, which is, I think, where most of that time went. Because whatever it was, they didn't think it was working,
Steven donated $10 through Super Chat. I think launching this game on the same day as Borderlands 4 was a strange move, but I'm curious to see how it will play out. I think I'm going to choose Borderlands based on what's been shown so far.
Yeah, I'll be real, that is shocking to me. When they mentioned the date, I didn't put 2 and 2 together that's when Borderlands was launching, but that is a bold move. That is a bold move for sure. Bold move, Cotton. We'll see how it works out for them. But I agree. I also am like, really? But I think it's because they're running out of time. I think it's pretty clear. Sony is like, get this out before GTA. Figure it out. Because I think early next year, they have to get Horizon out the door. And then late next year, they have to get Fair Game $sign out the door. So they just don't have enough time. I think they're just like, figure it out. So I think that really is what it is. But what I was saying about this, to wrap this up, I told one of the senior designers this. When you down players, watch. So he blasts him off the rooftop. He downs him. He drops. And then you have the chance to like dead is what we say in Apex. Like they're down. Okay, he's dead. Like actually wiped. And they turn into a duffel bag. So all of their gear is in the duffel bag instead of just like a corpse. And they said the reason it's not a corpse and it's a duffel bag instead is because they didn't want players being confused as to whether a player was just downed or dead, or wiped or whatever. So they turn into a duffel bag with all their loot in it at that point. So there's no confusion where you think they're still up, but they're not actually still up. But this is what I want them to change. Okay. Marathon, please. You can't drag this. This stupid little bag. When it drops, it is stuck there. Now, I know in Apex, you can't move the crates. You can't push the crate somewhere else. You can't do that. But in Marathon, there are certain environmental hazards, basically. So there was, to put this in perspective, there was basically a moment where there was like red danger bubble, okay? And then there was like some fencing like this, and then there was like a big building up here. And we had an enemy that was like up on top here sniping. There's an enemy shooting through the wall over here, another guy over here. And then inside this red bubble are just a bunch of enemies that you can't attack unless you have a specific like stim that allows you to go into this like cloud of poison gas, kind of, if you think of it that way. So you can't deal damage into it unless you enter the bubble, which if you don't have that stim, just slowly depletes your health and you die. So if you get downed, and this happened to me, if you get downed right here, all of these guys shoot you. These are the E in the PvPvE. All the androids shoot you and kill you. While the other team is going. So what happened for us is we downed this team. This team died. They're done. But my body is here. And my two teammates were like, we want to res you. You're right there. We eliminated the threat, but we don't have the stim to go in here and clean these guys out. So we just can't get you up. Whereas if you could grab the bag and maybe you drag it really slowly and you have one guy pop the shield and provide
Dream
cover
Corridor
while you drag
donated
it.
$10 through Super Chat.
But man, it was
Launching
annoying.
this game in September might be a bad idea than we think. Don't forget that a new Call of Duty and Battlefield may also be coming out around the same time. I don't Borderlands is a threat.
Yeah, I mean, that just makes it even scarier. But to their credit, what is the alternative? You can't push to October. GTA 6 almost certainly comes out in October. November, almost certainly Call of Duty is launching. December, like, what's the other thing in December? There's a couple of other games coming in like expected to come around November, December. Like there really is not a great alternative. And then they also are having to start to prep the Horizon Online game for sale and promotion and marketing and stuff. And then they have Fair Game $sign they're gonna have to put out. There's another live service game I don't think they've even announced yet that's expected. So they just have to get it out the door, I think is what I'm seeing. Because they just are out of time. But anyway, yeah, this is a very specific niche problem. We eventually solved it because one of Natasha, she was playing as a Void. And so she had an ultimate ability that cooled down after 5 minutes where she could pop a smoke cloud over here and the androids can't see into the smoke. So she popped the smoke, rezzed me, and then we got out. So we did find a solution. But it was one of those things where I was like, it would be so easy. Or not even easy, but it would be just so intuitive if these guys get distracted that are shooting this body right now. And then their teammate comes down, drags the bag behind that waste bin over there, and reses over there. And make it slow. I'm not saying you pick up the key card like in Apex and then just sprint where you need to go. I'm saying like grab the bag and you gotta drag it all the way over to cover and then res them over there. But that would make it significantly better, especially because people get killed out in the open. That makes looting them nigh impossible because you can get sniped so easy. So I think dragging the duffel bags would be a great tweak. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, I am excited to see kind of how this develops and how it moves and changes. There is a lot of, I think, potential with it. Again, I had fun, but I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done even still. And I also still am like, I'm iffy on the pricing, and the fact that they know what the pricing is and are choosing not to tell people. It says to me, either they just don't want it to be a topic of conversation because they don't want people being like, yeah, for $40, yeah, right. But even then, I don't think hiding that info fixes that problem, because we're all still talking about it. But now we're talking about it in the form of they are not telling us and not being transparent, instead of just being like, yeah, I don't know if it's worth $40. Now we're like, they're trying to hide it from us. What are they trying to hide? I think that they should just be more transparent with it. But I'm guessing it's because they're trying to figure out if they can get to 50 or something. I'm not sure. I'm willing to bet the game will be 50. That's kind of what I feel. So anyway, I'm excited to see how it develops. I think they're excited too, and they're hopeful and optimistic. But this is one of those games, I think when people try it, they'll have a good time. That's why I would recommend for them, do like a 2-hour demo where you can download the game for free, play 2 hours of it. And then if you like it, you want to keep going, then you pay the $40 or whatever it is. I think that will go a long way because people will try it. But the fact also, and this is the other elephant in the room, it's balanced around 3 players. Playing this with randos will suck. It just will. It will suck, especially if there's no prox chat and other things to encourage in-game chat being turned on. So I think because of that, there's going to be a lot of people like, if I want to play this, but I can't convince some of my friends or like my wife or somebody to play it with me, I'm not sure if I'll play it, because you need a full team of 3 that you can jump into this with. I think this depends much more on team composition and team capability, maybe competence. It's much more dependent on that than a game like Apex. Apex, you can go solo and get to the final ring and be like holding up pretty well if you have a Kraber or a sniper or whatever. You can hold your own. In this game, it's not so sure. Who needs randos? I'll go in solo and just get railed. Yeah, they said they've done play testing where they let players do that, and it's possible. It's just incredibly difficult. So we'll see. Yeah, because it's not just similar to Concord, but way more severe than Concord. Concord, you could load in random and be fine. But in this, like, you load in random, you'll either have an amazing time or you will be miserable. You'll be miserable. So I think that they really need that, because right now, unless you can convince your friends to play, like, it's not, say it's 40, it's $40 for you, 40 for one other player, 40 for the other. It's like 120 for each team. And I think if you offer a demo, basically, that could help people try it and get into it. But we'll see. Anyway, end of segment. Let me catch up on these super chats, by the way. Thank you, everybody, for the incredibly generous super chats while we were going through that. Incredibly generous of you. Let me catch up on all the ones that were not $10, so they didn't get read aloud. Alex, thank you for that one, for the 5. Can't wait to get that gear. That feels amazing to lose to sweaty elite gamers, and then take anything I really like into the match, or never take anything I like into a match ever again. Yeah, that's going to be a thing, where sometimes I will say we were playing against, I forget the name of the guy. He's a Valorant pro. And you could tell. He and his team, they tied together. So 2 of them had sniper rifles. And they would do something where, like, at one point, I just leaned over and I opened a bag. They had been watching us, they told us, for like 10 minutes. Like half the match. They had just been following us. We didn't even know. And I leaned down to open a duffel bag to loot it. And they coordinated where one of them, I think it was Tenzi. I think that's right. That sounds right. They had coordinated where one of them downed me with a headshot. My body drops. And before I can even, before movement even engages to start crawling away, the other player had been also scoped up and popped me again with the sniper to wipe me. So in the span of, opening a bag, gone, dead. It was, if we were playing Warzone, I'd be like, they're cheating. It was one of those, where it was just like, that was not even close. At least in Apex, there's the Kraber where it's gadoosh, and then reload, get ready, scope, gadoosh, and you're fine. You have a chance to kind of pivot around cover. This, no, man. Yeah, the good old double snipe. It was infuriating because I also had really good gear that round. And so for them, they were like business as usual. It was fine. For me, that was so frustrating. And that's the difficulty with extraction shooters is for every time you have a high moment, somebody else is having their lowest of the low moment. And you have to find a way to balance it where the highs are high enough that you keep playing even through the bad. That is tough. So thank you again, Alex, for the 5. Mazam, thank you for the 5 as well. Did they talk about why they didn't do a campaign, bring the original lore to a new generation? I think it's just because Bungie right now is not a studio built for narrative stuff. That's just not what they do. So I don't think it was ever on the table, frankly. I don't think they wanted to do it. Yeah. I mean, I really think at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. Dream, thank you for the 2. I think the price is going to make or break this game. I think if they can get people to do play tests and they do a big public access free beta, that's a big deal. They spend a lot of money getting big streamers like Tim the Tapman, Shroud, whoever. They get them all to play it so it's everywhere, all over your social media. You decide to download it and play it for an hour or two and kind of understand how it works. Then I think they could be successful, but they it's such an uphill battle. It's going to be really, really tough. And I think they know that. I mean, I think that's the big thing. They know that. Let's see. Jonathan, thank you for the 5. I can't justify paying $40 for a game with 1 game mode, 6 characters, and 3 maps. If it were free, I would try it. Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of people like you. They're just hoping that there's enough players that are willing to spend the $40 that they can turn a profit with it. Yeah. Tim will do a sponsored stream and then go right back to Rivals. Yeah, let's be real. Or somebody was pointing out that Marathon had fall damage and they just put it side by side. It was a picture of Marathon. I think it was Dick Serrato or something. It's Marathon confirmed to have fall damage. And it was just Marathon and then Tim the Tapman's profile picture. Even though he was not in the story at all, had nothing to do with it, they just put Tim the Tapman next to it because it mentioned fall damage, which I thought was funny. Jack, thank you for the 5. It's going to take a lot of $10 Marathon skins to make back that $3.6 billion Sony paid for Bungie. Yeah, no matter what, there is no world in which I think what I saw justifies the 3.6, or it ended up being revised to $3.7 billion for that purchase. That's insane. Yeah, I think no matter what, PlayStation is probably regretting how much they paid for it. Corvinus mentioned, thank you for that 5. Just beat AC Shadows with a little over 130 hours clocked in. Jeez. While it wasn't perfect and I didn't like the ending, it was a solid experience overall. Yeah, I think the reporting and leaks and stuff that have suggested that the first expansion was probably a year or 2 ago, part of the main story. I think that is is going to be pretty clearly the case once we see the expansion, because the story does end just kind of out of nowhere, and you're like, oh, it feels like there's a lot that's really not explored. It's very abrupt. Exactly, Paradox. Very abrupt. So I think that they will probably see. We'll probably see the true ending, unfortunately, tied into a DLC. But I think, as the reporting suggested, probably a year or two ago, before they got the delay, I think they realized we're not going to finish this if we try to do all of this. So let's just move that to an expansion and go from there. Robert, thank you for the membership. Make sure to join our Discord too, because we're going to be reading from it here in just a minute. So thank you for that. Let's see. Did I read that one? Yeah. Dream Corridor, thank you for the 5. I would argue that popularity of Marvel Rivals is propped up mostly by the IP itself and less about the actual game itself. Interesting. I think that IP definitely helps with the first like entrance into it, because people are like, oh, I know Loki. Oh, I know Doctor Strange, whatever. It helps with people downloading it for the first time, but I think what keeps them is the game and the gameplay being really, really good. And also their post-launch support has been phenomenal, and that's a huge part of it. Like, they just are on it, dude. New characters constantly, free to play the new characters. Like, it also pretty clearly was not rushed. They definitely had it ready. And the skins. Yeah, baby. The skins. New chapter every month is insane. Yeah, dude. They make everybody else look like they're not even trying. Like, they're just pumping out so much content, dude. Oh, let me see. Ismaili, thank you for that super chat as well. When can we say this game succeeded? Does it have to be the best extraction shooter there is to be considered a success, or revenue is the only factor here? I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, all Sony's interested in is the bottom line. So that's going to be the driving factor. Whether or not Sony is willing to give them like a year or two to settle into it, that is the question mark. Because games like this don't tend to just launch to amazing numbers day one. They kind of slowly build and expand as time goes on. And that's where it's just a question of whether they're given the time to build it and build the community and build the post-launch support and build the new maps and build the new modes. That's when I think it'll have a better chance. But yeah, as of right now, there's just not a whole lot there, you know. Where's the Discord link? If you're a member, you just connect your Discord account to your YouTube account or Twitch account if you're a Twitch sub, and you should receive like the integration invite to the server. I think it's in your Discord notifications or whatever. Yeah. Avengers is proof that IP doesn't matter. Yeah, it's also the Marvel Avengers game, that was also a case where the game was just really just not great. So I think that was part of it. I think having a big IP can help a good game do phenomenally well, but it does not make a bad game good, you know? Like, it's almost like one of those enhancers, or like one of those vouchers you use in Monster Hunter before a hunt. Like, if you succeed, it makes it way more successful and it's great, but it's not going to make a bad hunt successful, you know? That's basically how it works. You know you're a gamer when you are trying to explain IP influence with a game mechanic from Monster Hunter. Yeah, plus the Avengers didn't have Emma Frost. That's what yeah, exactly. Hey, I liked that game when I bought it with all the DLC for $2. That helps. Yeah, they unlisted it, dude. You can't buy it anymore. I don't think you can even launch it. Anymore. Maybe you can launch it, but you just can't buy it. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's that whole story is crazy, dude. Yeah, we got to talk about the Respawn thing. I just got to catch up on these real quick. Christopher Burnett, thank you for the 5. As soon as we know the release date for GTA 6, we can schedule the funeral for Marathon and light some candles. Dude, I still insist. I don't think that they're gonna. I would not be surprised at all if they wait until August for the next trailer and they just do like a 3-month marketing thing. Like, imagine they just go the entire summer with nothing. You know, they might, because they can, you know, the balls. Oh, the balls The balls on those guys. Edwin, thank you for the 5. Do you think that PlayStation will make the game free to play for PlayStation Plus subscribers? Could be a pull to the subscription and get a large player base. That would be really interesting if they did that. I'm not sure. Because I think they also are hoping that a lot of people that are subscribed to the PlayStation Plus account will also pay $40-50. So they'll probably do some metrics to see what the interest is like.
Sully donated £19.99
Thank
through
you.
Super Chat. Do you expect Marathon to be like Destiny where it sucks to be a solo player, or do you think they will add things to help? Thanks for the vids.
Thank you for the very generous super chat. And I don't, as of right now, I don't think there's anything they're doing to specifically try and help solo players. And we asked them about it. I asked them at lunch about it, and then other people asked them at the Q&A session about it. But basically what they said is they did in studio testing where they basically made a single player mode and they let players play. Like they had a match of whatever it was, 40 people, and just said, go. And they tried running it. But they said that the problem was that everybody just started playing stealthy and everybody just played as Void and crouched and crawled around. And it just was kind of boring. Like nobody wanted to engage anybody. Everybody played it so slow. It just wasn't that fun. And, you know, they would do anonymous surveys where they asked people, did you have fun? How would you rate that out of 10? And they said that the numbers were just really bad. So they just decided not to do it. And I don't think I can blame them. You know, like having played what I played, I can understand why solos would not be that fun. So they're balancing everything with 3 players in mind. But maybe they end up doing like a, you know, like we said, a PvP deathmatch mode or something. Maybe they do that and then they open that up, which I think could be a good option. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's see. Dream Quarter, thank you for the other 5. Do you think this game could have a stripped down free to play option like Destiny 2 currently offers? I think that'd be interesting. I don't know what that would look like if it was only like the one map is free or 2 maps are free or something. But I think that does get tricky. You know, at that point, just go free to play for the base maps and then make like the 4th map that they're so excited about, make that part of an expansion, like the first expansion that's $20, and then start charging that way. Just do something like that if you're going to try to open it up. But maybe they just don't want to risk the game not popping off and then making no money. Because that's the thing is, if you go free to play and your game doesn't do that well, you make nothing. Whereas Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, that was $70. And they really didn't make, you know, waves with that game. But I think we did the math on stream. They still took in like $90 million or something because of just based on the player estimates and stuff. They took in, maybe not 90, but it was tens of millions of dollars they took in because they charged $70 for it, which is crazy. But that, you know, even though the game died, they still took in a good amount of cash. They still lost $200 million, but it would have been 250, 290, whatever it was, if they hadn't brought that cash in. So, you know, they might just be like, yeah, let's just get cash while we can. You know, it's hard to say. But that's, I mean, they are balancing all of this. They've got data, they got spreadsheets, they got mathematicians figuring it out. They're going to do what they think has the highest probability of turning that profit, and we'll see if it works. Let me see. Almost caught up, guys. Thank you for your patience. Metal Mohan, thank you for the 5. I lurk daily. Thanks for the content. Back to lurk mode. Cheers. Thank you. I always love seeing lurkers come out of the wilds. Because I'm a lurker myself. I'll watch streamers, I'll watch YouTubers and stuff. And I don't ever comment. I don't ever, you know, I actually have my own YouTube account that it has just like a made up name on it and it's just anonymous. But even then I don't comment. I don't hop in stream chats or anything. I just consume, you know, I'm a consumer, but I always like seeing lurkers come out of the wild, you know. Yeah, it's Stu Leapins. Yeah, that's my name. Okay, again, thank you, Robert, for the membership as well. Sully, again, thank you for the very generous 20. And Steven, thank you for that 5. Love the channel. Rando Q, is the live stream ever going to go to 4K? UHD Luke Stevens live stream. We've actually tried it and tested it. The only problem is YouTube currently, they do support 4K streams, but it adds so much latency. It makes like conversations with chat pretty difficult. It adds like 30 seconds of latency from when you put something in chat to when it shows up on stream, or from when I talk to when you see it as 30 seconds. So if then you send a message, it might be like 45 to 60 seconds after I said something. So if I ever ask you guys something, or say, you know, may Todd be with you, it will be a full minute until like the chat responds to that thing. So it's just right now, it's just not snappy enough. That's the biggest problem we have, is the latency. Yes. And also with you, so the latency is not great, but it's much better than a minute. So I'll take it. I'll take it. But thank you for that. And thank you to all of the followers and stuff. CD Media, thank you also for the resub with Prime. This is 100% going to result in layoffs for Bungie, and I hate to say it, I don't know how it got greenlit. This market is saturated, I can read, and the vast majority of players don't want this. I mean, I think the vast majority of players are not into extraction shooters. That is true. Their hope is the players that are into extraction shooters come in here for 40, 50 bucks and then spend a bunch of money on cosmetics. Because I think they're banking on Tarkov players being pissed off about it. Console players have never really had a great extraction shooter alternative, so they are hoping that they can tap into a new market there. And you know, we'll see if it happens. You know, if maybe Destiny 2 players are burnt out and they're looking for something fresh, they hop in here. We'll see. But yeah, as of right now, I just don't think it has enough meat on the bone. By launch, maybe. Which is why I say they have a lot of work to do in 5 months, but yeah. Dream Quarter, thank you for the 2. Someone sneezing at Bungie results in layoffs. Well, dude, didn't they recently have layoffs like a year ago? I think it wasn't that long ago. I'm not sure. Real quick, where did I put it? Where's the tab? There it is. You know what we got to talk about now? And then we'll talk about Star Wars. I will talk about Star Wars. I'm sorry. We're bouncing around. So much is happening. New segment. So if you've watched my videos, my streams, you know that there was one game last year that stood apart from the rest that was phenomenal. Captivated us. It was something we poured a ton of time into. You know, it really changed my life. It changed my perception of big budget games. It changed my perception of what is possible with a multi-billion-dollar company when you just let the devs go for a decade. Sorry. And you know what? It's getting an update. Skull and Bones, year 2 announcement, baby. Here we go. It's still alive. Can't be killed. What? What? You thought it was down. It's not. They're coming back, baby. Suicide Squad didn't survive a year. Concord didn't survive 2 weeks. Timothy says the cockroach of gaming. Look at this. It's back. It never left. Ooh, baby. Zombie pirates. Bruh. Skill trees. Blue flame throwers, whatever they're called. Lemurs, the Kraken. Cthulhu confirmed. Fortress raids. Spaceship ocean fights. Green, yellow, blue, colors. Lightning, space, dragons, magic, piracy. Chests, ropes. Water, crabs. I did not have this on my bucket list, but dude, it's happening. Okay. So as I've said a bajillion times, I never thought, if you rewind the clocks a year, I don't think any of us thought, that the one live service game from last year that would still be standing after all this time would be Skull and Bones. I think all of us were like, yeah, Suicide Squad probably gets like the full year. Yeah, Concord, yeah, that's definitely going to be supported for a long time. Sony's put a lot of money into that. None of us thought the only one still standing would be Skull and Bones, and that it would get a second year of major support and overhauls. Like, it's crazy. They're doing it out of spite at this point. Well, so here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. One of the biggest complaints about the original Skull and Bones package was that it was basically a sliver of what Black Flag offered, but they had cut out things like swashbuckling. Like, you just couldn't fight. You know, you could board ships, but your crew would do it. You didn't get to do any of that stuff. You just kind of sailed around, and it was really boring. There wasn't much there. They are now adding in, it seems, like actual combat. And this is already surpassing my expectations. I made a video like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago. And Jacob, as I'm saying this, I'm realizing we're going to need to film a video on this now for the main channel. But I thought the swashbuckling and sword fighting would be relegated just to ships. Like that you'd be able to go jump on a ship, and then you know, when you're boarding, you do that. Because the world was not built out with levels or arenas to fight enemies. They're adding arenas and areas in the world to fight enemies. They're adding it. Like, this is already way more than I was expecting them to do. Like, way more. You see, like actual combat, they're adding skill trees for combat. They're adding the new 3-masted ships. So massive, crap, I can't remember the name of it. But massive ships. It looks like a skill tree. I initially thought, when we just watched this a minute ago, I thought that this was a skill tree for the ships. It's not. This is a player-based skill tree for the combat system in the game. Like, with this one update, it looks like they are actually overhauling the game into something completely different. Which, you know what, honestly, was kind of needed, because what it was not great, and it was kind of a meme and a joke, but they're actually overhauling it. Now, you might be asking, Luke, why? There's no way this is profitable. And I agree, okay? I don't think this is profitable. But you got to go big picture, baby. I need you to broaden your mind. Think like a multi-billionaire Frenchman for a second. Just join me, okay? Sip on the tea. No, they don't drink tea. Sip on the wine. Smoke a cigarette, you know. Oui. I'm in character. What is the other project that Ubisoft is working on right now? A Black Flag remake. That's expected to come out probably towards the end of this year, in the fall. Probably. I think this thing is happening almost exclusively because they are hoping, similar to like Fallout, for example, they're hoping you play Fallout 4 and then buy Fallout 76 or download Fallout 76 and play that live service version of the Fallout experience, right? I think they're doing this to overhaul Skull and Bones so it feels more similar to Black Flag. So this fall, when people play Black Flag Remake, they go, oh, I love pirate stuff. I forgot how much I love piratey stuff. And they decide to go download Skull and Bones. Oh, it's overhauled. It has combat. It has all this stuff now. I'll go try it. That's what they're hoping for. Because also, what's the other big component of Ubisoft's business model right now? Ubisoft Plus Connect Ultra Blue Diamond. I forget what they call it. I think it's Ubisoft Connect or Ubisoft Plus, I think is what they call it. It's that subscription model, right? The subscription service that's like $19 a month. A good number of players played AC Shadows with that subscription, right? Because it's way cheaper than paying full price. And I think part of the goal is to create more experiences, as they're called, that tie things together. So you play Black Flag with Ubisoft Connect Plus, whatever, and you play that. Maybe you finish it in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but they need you to keep that subscription for 2 months or 3 months, whatever. So if they can create an experience that's connected to that original one, in this case, you have Skull and Bones, which you get Black Flag players to move over, and now they're trying that. After playing Black Flag, you just extended their membership to 2 months. And then maybe they really love this and it goes to 3. Or maybe they play Skull and Bones and they're like, yeah, it's not quite there, but I do still have the AC itch. Maybe I'll go try Origins or Odyssey. It had more ship stuff. And they hop over there. Like, this is all part of the goal, man. This is all part of the strategy. Create a web of quadruple A experiences. It's all part of it. It's all part of it. And this is something that we talked about like 3 weeks ago in that video. With that little teaser video that they dropped. And now with this trailer, they actually are revealing it's true, it's accurate, and it's real. So I think later today, it says it's live now, so I can try downloading it, maybe as we go through some other topics, and then we try it ourselves. How about that? What if we tried it live on stream? Would that be fun? Would that be fun? Okay, maybe fun is a strong word. Maybe. Would that be entertaining? Maybe. I should be careful with using the word fun with regards to this, but you never know. Maybe it will be. Maybe it will be. We got to keep an open mind. That's the thing, is a lot of people don't have open minds. They don't open their hearts to Skull and Bones as truth. And, that's tragic because, Skull and Bones, it fills you up. It can change your life if you let it. May Skull and Bones be with you. And also with you. Hold on, I have to log into Ubisoft because, shocker, it logged me out again. Shocker. So surprised. So stunned. Okay. Skull and Bones. It's going to make me log into that. Looking for patches. Yes, I do have Skull and Bones already installed because I knew this day was coming. Because I'm a professional. I'm a professional. Who do you think you're dealing with? Who do you think you're dealing with? Okay. Okay. That being said. Okay, yeah. No, you have permission to do that. Okay. Okay. Now, while that's updating, while we're doing that, I think we should talk about this. Oh, I accidentally launched the game. Oops. Okay. Well, give me a second. Okay. Let's see. Like a phoenix from the ashes. Exactly. David, thank you for the 1 gifted membership on YouTube. Thank you. And Samaya, thank you for the membership as well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Yeah, we still have to talk about the new Star Wars game that was just announced and a rumored PlayStation 6 portable thing. So we'll talk about that because I didn't realize this was a thing, but apparently it is. Who knew? Okay. My computer is struggling. My computer is crying. Samaya, thank you for that one. Is that a skill bush I see in Skull and Bones? I thought we learned from Shadows. You mean from Valhalla? Yeah, you can never get away from the skill bush. The skill bush is always there. Some people argue the skill bush is actually the natural way to do skill trees and stuff. I don't know. I think we've evolved past it at this point, personally. I think at some point you got to move on. That's all I'm saying. Okay. A skill forest. Yeah. Maybe like a skill racing stripe or something. I don't Oh my God. Okay. How do we join the Discord? Is it YouTube supported exclusive? No. So how it should work, and if you have problems with it, let me know. But how it should work is that you, if you are a Twitch sub or a YouTube member, you just connect your Discord account to those, whichever service you're part of. And then it should send you like the auto, like invite whatever thing. It should just let you in, or send you like an integration thing. Hello. Oh, it is Mrs. Babe. Mrs. Babe is here. Hello, Mrs. Babe.
Don't say anything, but look who just resurfaced.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, just it might be old.
I blocked all of his old ones.
Well, it might be an old one that we didn't know about. You never know.
He messaged me from all of them. I blocked them all.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely worth like screenshotting for sure.
No, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, no, that's funny. Whoa. Definitely like maybe screenshot or whatever. Yep. We've been stuck on 16% for ages. I don't know what's happening. What?
What are you doing?
We're trying to get into Skull and Bones because they just updated it, but it is frozen now. So
it's doing really well.
This is what I get for. Oh wait, press any button to rule the seas. I don't know if it's updated yet though, because I'm definitely pressing buttons and it's not working. La yeah. Just gonna be trying to get this working. Ugh. Okay, well, I should have known this would happen if we tried to play Skull and Bones. Okay, it crashed. Okay, thank God it crashed. Okay, we'll try to. I'm gonna have to verify files. Maybe I try that. It's the most Skull and Bones thing ever. Like, let's be real. It's tomorrow. Oh, is it tomorrow? Oh, bummer. I thought it said today. Because it said year 2 starts now. Does it mean starts now tomorrow? You know, that classic saying. Year 2 starts now tomorrow. You really cooked with this one. Is this actual positive comments on a Ubisoft trailer drop? What is happening? I'll give him a thumbs up because this is a good update. I'll give him that. Year 2 starts now. Hold on. April 14th. Highlights. Season 1, Year 2. Tons of new loot stuff. Shops. Dude, there's a lot. World tiers. Okay. Wow, Helm Empire upgrade tree. Tons of overhauls on stats. Dude, this is what I call patch notes. Golly. Okay. Well, there you go. It says starts now. But maybe it's not now. Maybe it is tomorrow. Oh, well. It's finally quadruple A. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. Today is tomorrow tonight. Oh! It's 2 days after the day before today. Oh my God. It's not actually the day after tomorrow. It's 2 days before the day after tomorrow. Oh my God. That's today. Okay. We'll focus on this. Here we go. Let's talk about the PlayStation thing, and then we'll talk about Star Wars. And then we got to talk about the Minecraft movie, because I did ask some of you in the Discord to let me know what you think of the Minecraft movie, because I don't want to see it. But I feel like if it's considered decent, I have to see it and report back to you. So we might even have Jacob pop into voice chat, because that's one of the features of the new Discord, if you're a member or Twitch sub, is that we're going to do like a little stage where people can come on and talk on stream. But let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about this. It's not decent. See, if I went with like the middle schoolers, like the middle school crowd that like throw the popcorn and stuff, I've seen the videos of that. That would be fun. But I think the odds are I would end up going with like a grandma and her toddler, and it would just be super sad and quiet. And then I don't know. Do you guys want to see something ridiculous? Hold on. Where is it AMC or Cinemark? I think it's Cinemark. Hold on. Logging in. This will blow your mind. Okay, I have a comical number of movie credits because I've been a member of like the Cinemark membership thing for ages. Here, I'll screenshot and then I'll zoom in past the QR code so nobody can steal it. Okay. Here, I'm not joking. I have 30 credits. That's like 30 tickets prepaid. I've just had the membership. It charged me like $10 a month every month. So over like 2.5 years worth of movie tickets I've accumulated because we just don't go out that much. So I just have a ton of credits that I just need to use. So I could see it, you know, Luke out here grinding. Yeah, accidentally because I'm irresponsible and don't cancel my memberships. They don't go bad. Like they stay there. So like I just get cheap movie tickets. Basically, I just have like a huge stock of movie tickets. Yeah. It's just like, oh, there you go. Gift me some. Can you actually gift? If I could gift them, I would. I'm not sure if you can. We just don't go out that often to movies, you know? I like going to the movies. It's just, it feels like there aren't a lot of movies that are good enough to go see. And my wife also, she falls asleep during them. You know, that's a big part of it. You know. Okay. One UI 7. Is that the new one that is not out yet? Or is it the one that's on the S25 or S24 Ultra? Because I have the S25 Ultra. Whatever is on this, I do like it. I think it's really smooth. Just the ability to like hold down the middle button thing and
Logan
then
Levesque
circle stuff
donated
for the
$10
Galaxy
through
AI.
Super Chat.
I can never go back.
Pushback from her previous stream. Looks aren't everything, but it's always the first thing.
Okay.
Concord failed cause it was bad, but ugly characters were a legitimate vein PPL could pick at. PPL no.
People know like ugly. So it's always the first thing. Yeah, I think, well, especially in the modern day, and perhaps this is where, you know, I think you could be very, very right in bringing this up. Because in case people are not aware, basically in like a previous stream, I said that Concord did not fail because the characters were ugly. That was part of it, but it was not like the deciding factor. Ultimately, Concord failed because it was an expensive game that nobody wanted, and it was basically just a carbon copy of Overwatch, but worse. And then when you add in all the other stuff like crappy character designs, the cinematics that didn't make any sense, it was just really hard. Like there was nothing really to bring up, you know, that was positive. And so in that context, like looks are not everything, but they are the first thing that people see. I think that's valid. I think that that's true because you're right. When people are looking at the trailers, it's the first thing they see. And if you give them something to poke holes in, they will. And so perhaps that's why art direction and character design is extra crucial for games like that. And we've seen other examples where people start to pick games apart just based on character designs. Like people were already picking apart Saints Row Reboot before they even saw trailers and stuff. Because remember they released like the still shot of like the wallpaper. And already, I forget what they call it. They call it like the buzz or something like that. It's that look that is on so many female characters in games from the last 6-7 years. It's like the hair swooshed over the side with the buzz cut on the side. And it's like, I don't know why that's the new meta haircut for female characters, because I've only ever seen it like on a liberal arts campus. I've never seen someone using that haircut out in like regular everyday life. Maybe I don't live in a cool part of town, but I've never seen it. You know, but it is like, it's pretty hilarious how you can tie it. Like it's in so many games. It's almost like the Watch Dogs 2, Watch Dogs 3 style haircut. You know, it's like, ooh, that's cool. I don't know what it is. But goth mommies? No, it's not even goth mommies. It's just like, I don't know. It's shaving one side of it and then kind of flipping it over into a pompadour kind of thing. I don't know why, but it's a very common thing, you know? Brad says, come to Montreal. There's a lot of them smoking weed on the hills around here. They move around like herds of pigeons. They settle on the hillside. It's what nerds think is cool. Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know. It's why I said, like, I never realized, or I was always wondering how you end up with a game like Saints Row or Forspoken, where the developers and designers legitimately thought those characters were cool and relatable. And I was like, how are you so out of touch that you think those are relatable? And then finally it hit me one day and I was like, oh, it's because the people that are making the game are them. They're just putting themselves in the game and they think that's relatable because that's relatable to them. They just don't realize how out of touch they are with the actual general gaming community, who find those people extremely annoying. You know, like if you walk around with headphones around your neck, shirtless, with a waffle tattoo on your chest, and you complain that your roommates aren't spending money on waffles for you, you're the problem. Sorry. You're the problem. You're the one nobody likes, okay? Hate to tell you. Ghost of Yote actress has that haircut. It's not a bad haircut. I'm just saying, why are so many of these characters, why do they have it as if it's like super duper cool? When everybody has the cool haircut, it stops being cool, you know? That's what I'm saying. Like, have a little flexibility. Shake it up a little bit.
Logan Levesque donated $10 through Super Chat. In
Thank
a
you.
world awash with too many BRs. Marathon looks so uninteresting. Not even bad, just uninteresting. There is a massive schism between the wannabe kingmakers like IGN and the actual real audience.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how the game performs. I think that's the ultimate thing. Because right now, and this is where I'm at, all I can do is report and describe what I felt and what I experienced while playing the game. I know there's a lot of like negativity on social media, especially right now with Marathon. And there's a lot of people like you that just genuinely don't find it compelling, which is totally fine. I mean, that happens with all sorts of games. Like some people say Claire Obscure Expedition 33 looks too artsy and looks boring. And I look at that and I'm like, I want that injected straight into my veins. What do you mean? But it's just because players are different. But I do think it'll just come down to how it performs in the beta tests and alpha play tests and stuff. That's gonna tell us a lot more, because while all this negativity is spiraling around on social media, you also see that like their Discord crashed because so many people were trying to load in to get access to the alpha playtest. Like that's significant. That's not a small number of people. Discord's pretty robust. It's pretty robust. Now all of those people could play it and end up not liking it, and it still fails, but we just don't know yet. So I'm excited to see how it performs. Yeah, at the very least, it's a good sign for them. Yeah. I think that's FOMO. Either way, it's good for them. You know, even if it's FOMO from people that are bashing them, that's still valuable. You know, it's like Nintendo. Like I'm sorry, it was very funny. I know Yong was trying to he's going to cover the Switch and cover news on the Switch, but he did a video where he was describing how greedy Nintendo was being with the Switch pricing and stuff. He's like, and this just shows again how out of touch Nintendo are with regular gamers. Here is my pre-order for the Switch 2, and as you can see, like, bro, you're giving them you're buying it. You're part of the thing. Like, what are you doing? It just immediately turning around. Yeah, it's that I did find funny. Firetown, thank you.
Firechild 460
And I'll read that
donated
potato wrestler.
$10
Don't
through
worry.
Super Chat. This marathon discourse is so embarrassing to me. It's an alpha build. No
Indeed.
one wants to live in the frame of a house. Seems people passing judgment before it's even finished.
Yeah, I think it's part of it is whenever you put the game out there, you are opening yourself up to the criticism and to the critiques, which is part of it. And, you know, it's why I wouldn't blame studios if they were like, you know what, let's only ever shadow drop from now on. Like I wouldn't blame studios for feeling that way. But it is an alpha. A lot will change. They're looking for feedback. And that's why I just genuinely don't know if the criticisms and negativity right now is just isolated to people who were never going to play it anyways. Or, you know, just like with Hogwarts Legacy, you remember that? Like there was a ton of toxicity online with that game, way more than for Marathon, certainly. But it ended up selling stupid well. But if you looked on social media, you would have thought that that game was in serious trouble, right? So it's just, I think there's I think that there's often a problem where some games may look on social media as if they're dealing with a certain situation, but in reality, it's totally different. Maybe Marathon, you know, it doesn't connect with people. That's possible. But it could also be that the people that are bashing it and being really negative about it right now weren't the target audience and we're never going to play it anyways. You know, it's like when Ubisoft sees that some of these like anti-woke Crusader types, they're bashing AC Shadows and stuff. They're like, yeah, they were never going to buy the game anyways. Or in some cases, they're going to buy the game and platinum it, even though they complain about it constantly. You never know. But I think it's going to be interesting to see what the player counts are actually like. But either way, Potato Wrestler, thank you for the 500 bits. I'm really surprised by some of the reactions. Marathon has one of the coolest aesthetics I've ever seen in a game. I hope the gameplay and systems can live up with it. Yeah, I think the playtest will do a lot. When people try it, I think they'll have fun with it because I had fun with it. And I'm not typically an extraction shooter guy. I think when people try it, they will like it. The problem is if they're going to charge 40, 50 bucks for it, that immediately is a roadblock that's going to lead to a lot of people not jumping in and trying it, which is why I think doing like a huge free beta that's extensive, that's like a week long or something, that could really help. Because once people try it, I think they'll like it, but it's getting them to try it that's going to be the tricky bit. And it's also, then once they try it, if they like it, they got to consider whether there's enough content to justify 40 bucks. Because as of right now, only 3 maps, 1 game mode. Maybe 2 if you count ranked as a separate game mode. But even that, I would not be surprised if the ranked mode gets delayed till after launch, based on what I saw. Let's see. What about Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake, asks Kush. I think it's been rebooted by another team, so I don't even know. I don't even know where that's at. Nerdrich, thank you for that one. God damn, they cooked with year 2 content for Skull and Bones. I'm worried though when you said it's the same team that are on Black Flag. Yeah, it's a big team in Singapore. It's not a small team, but maybe they're finally getting their groove. Maybe. You never know. You never know. Possible. Ooh. Thank you. Potato Wrestler, thank you for the 500 bits. I'm a big Destiny fan, and when Destiny 1 came out, it had very little content too, but you could tell that the fundamentals of it were great and they filled it out over time. Maybe they're planning the same. I think you're right. They're planning on like a long-term kind of build and expand and craft it. My only like worry with that approach is that Sony bought them for $3.7 billion. And they reportedly, according to like insider reports and stuff, they are pretty fed up with Bungie's lack of profitability. Because like Destiny 2, I think it was like 6-7 months ago, but they were reportedly missing their internal revenue targets by 50%, which means if you were expecting to make $100, they only brought in 50. That's not great. That's bad. So they need to find a way to bring in some money, but I think Marathon can get there if they have the time to build it out, like you're saying. Whether or not they have the time to do that, and if Sony like gives them the time and pays for the time to do that, that remains to be seen. My fear would just be that Marathon launches is not the immediate immediate $1 billion success that they were hoping for. And they're like, okay, we're shutting it down. That would suck. I don't think that's likely. That's like a 5% possibility. it kind of depends on how the rest of their business goes. But if money gets tight, I wouldn't be surprised if they do something like that and write off that 3.7 billion as a loss, which is often a tax strategy for sure. Why is Bungie worth $3 billion? That's a great question. And I don't think anybody, even the people at Bungie, could tell you, because I think even the people that owned Bungie before they sold to PlayStation, I think even they were shocked that Sony was willing to pay so much for them. Because I don't think they're worth 3.7. I don't think they would think it's worth 3.7. I really think it was that classic thing where like the kid goes up to the door and knocks and it's like, hey, mister, I'll mow your grass for you. And the guy goes, oh, aspiring businessman. Ah, how much do you charge? And the kid, who is Bungie in this case, is like, well, what do you think is fair? And the kid's willing to do it for $5. And the old man goes, well, I don't know what they charge for this type of thing. How's $50? The kid's just, sure. Yeah. 50. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what happened is the old man is Sony and the kid is Bungie. They were ready to go for way less. And then the old man offered them way more than they needed or thought was fair. And they were just like, sure. Yeah, please. I really think that's what happened. Because nobody I've seen has been able to come up with a justification for the $3.7 billion number. Like, nobody. Again, remember, the entirety of the Assassin's Creed franchise and Rainbow Six together are worth about $7 billion. That means they were saying that Bungie is worth roughly about as much as the entirety of the Assassin's Creed IP, the library and catalog of previous games. Like, and I don't understand how you get there, frankly. Yeah, hookers and blow. Yeah, I don't know how they get there, but I don't think anybody does because I don't think they should have paid that much, frankly. Yeah, and then the kid didn't mow the lawn. Yeah, that's how you finish the analogy. Yeah, the kid mowed the wrong lawn. Yeah, that's basically what happened. Never buy a promise. Exactly, good kid. I totally agree. And that's why I think it applies, ironically and perhaps poetically enough, it applies to both Sony buying the promise of Bungie, the promise of at the time they bought them, Destiny 2's eventual success. They bought them because they were working on another IP that's since been canceled. There was another IP that they canned. So Sony bought them for that. That ended up dying out. And then they also bought them for the promise of Marathon. And the reason why it's kind of poetic is because I think to a certain extent, it seems like people are being asked to buy Marathon, or at least will be asked to buy Marathon, with the promise of future updates, future content that really fills out the price tag. And that's a tougher sell, I think. Real quick, let me see. Logan, thank you for that $5. If I buy you a shirt, will you wear it on stream? More like yawn, yeah. I've had people and fans send me shirts and stuff. The tricky thing is that if it has any logo, branding, anything on it, we have sponsors and ad reads and stuff, and they throw a fit. You'll notice that the Rode mic logo is covered up now on my boom arm. That is because a sponsor said I could not have any identifiable branding. They even were frustrated with the G on my Logitech mouse. Okay, this has been a problem with some sponsors before. So you just have to be very cautious. It's a new thing. Basically, it sounds like there was a lawsuit, or basically a copyright infringement lawsuit from some company on I think it was a beauty YouTuber. They like did makeup videos and stuff, but they had in the background like some logo from some company. And so there was a lawsuit filed, and they sued the content creator, but they also named the brand that was doing the sponsorship that the other thing appeared in. And so it just turned into this huge headache or whatever. So now brands are being like super hardcore that you can't have any branding type stuff at all visible when you do that stuff. Because you'll notice most streams, typically, I'm wearing just like a standard tee that doesn't have anything on it. Yeah. It's not an accident. It's not an accident. Very little that I do is an accident. Except that one stream we can never talk about. The camera's still on, huh? Hello. No, I never had that happen. Thank goodness. But yeah. Can you imagine, dude? Oh my God. Let's see. I think I caught up there. Let's see. Sarah Kane, thank you for that sub with Prime, by the way. Thank you. And welcome. Again, join the Discord. Make sure you connect your Twitch account to Discord. Let's see. Oh yeah, the one with the Australian breakdancer. Oh yeah, you remember we watched that one clip of whatever her name was, the Australian breakdancer in the Olympics, and that whole stream got like nuked into oblivion with the copyrights. They did not like that at all. Ray Gun, that's it. Yeah. Can you repost the Discord link? That's the thing, is it's not tied to a link invite. You have to attach your YouTube or Twitch account to Discord, and if you are a member or a Twitch sub, you get the auto invite through Discord officially. It's quite seamless. We may eventually open it up to the broader public, but as of right now, it's just on or it's just for members and subs. Speaking of, let's touch on this real quick. I feel like we should touch on this real quick. This is the Discord that you could join. But just this morning I sent in a message. It's brand spanking new. So all the channels are fresh. But I asked, anybody seen the Minecraft movie? I want to talk about it on stream today. I'll read your mini reviews if you post them here. Limit Breaks did respond, so we're gonna read these. And then Jacob, if you can hop into, I think you should be able to hop into the stream stage. You can hop in there and then I can ask you about it. We can poke your brain. But Limit Break says the plot was a bit lacking. The actors played their parts well enough to make it somewhat entertaining. The high point for me were the visuals. It definitely captured the Minecraft world feeling. Hey, the family enjoyed it, so that's what counts. Maybe not a movie I would spend a ton to go see in the theater. Good enough for a watch one time, but you kind of get what you get. Don't expect any Oscars. Tom said, haven't seen it yet, but it does seem a bit of a cultural moment. All the vids of people going crazy in cinema are wild. That's the thing, is if you guys have not seen those videos, maybe like Minecraft movie freak out, maybe I don't even know. It's like chicken. There's some meme with it. Chicken jockey. And people lose their minds. They throw the popcorn. They brought an actual chicken into the theater. They brought an actual chicken. Like, this honestly looks pretty fun. I would go see the Minecraft movie if it was like this. I think 99% of showings are not like that. But bringing an actual chicken to the chicken jockey moment, that's pretty baller. Okay. I did see another one. Maybe I can find it. Somebody brought fireworks and lit them off. Is this it, or is this the same one? Oh, it's the same one. I'm sorry. Yeah, and then they turn the lights on. The manager has to come in and tell them not to do it because, of course, they're like, please don't do that. Yeah, somebody lit off fireworks. They brought fireworks into the theater. Don't do this, by the way. Don't do that, please. Like, is it worth going to jail for arson and like reckless endangerment, starting a fire in a movie theater? Like, it's not. Just because you saw IShowSpeed do it in his bedroom one time doesn't mean that you should do it here. Okay, that's actually insane. But yeah, that's what people are talking about when they talk about like the culture of the Minecraft experience. Is that it's very very meta, you know, it's very meta. Limit says, yeah, I couldn't figure out the hype over that particular scene everyone was talking about online. I mean, it's good for a chuckle, but perhaps I'm not as glowing with style as some. I missed the hype train. Yeah, dude, I don't really understand it either. But Jacob wrote a very long review, but we actually have Jacob. So let's actually ask him live what he what he thought of it. Hopefully this just works. It just works. Maybe. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
I can. Say hi to stream.
Hello, everybody.
This is Jacob. This is his actual voice.
This is me. This is not me talking through various filters to make me sound like a normal human man.
Yeah, that thing with your voice isn't as bad today.
I know. I sound great.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to hear?
I want to hear.
about it?
Jacob, so paint the picture. You saw it with our little brother, right?
No, I did not.
Oh.
I saw it with
On a date.
No, of course not. I went with some friends, a couple of brothers. It was nice. We got dinner before and we walked over. It was a lovely time. And then we got in for the movie. And it starts out with like 10 minutes of
Oh, sorry. I pressed the wrong button. I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry. Okay. It starts out with what?
with 10 minutes of Jack Black just explaining everything.
Okay.
He just talks and he's like, this is how this is. I wanted to do this and then I did this. Like, there's no mystery. There's no, like, no one really learns anything. You're just told things really, really quickly. And it kind of feels like they did it after the movie was made, because then the movie starts like after a 10-minute narration thing from Jack Black. And it's like Jason Momoa, he's down on his luck. He's a washed up video game star. And that feels like the start of the movie. But I think they were like, well, people won't know what the Minecraft world is if we don't get them into the Minecraft world right away. And so they did that, and it was really boring. And I hated it. And I thought, okay, I should leave. But then
Okay.
the like actual opening of the movie is like pretty good. It's like kind of, I thought it was really funny. Everything in the little town, everything with like Jason Momoa being a horrible loser. There's one part where he's down on his luck, he has no money, and his genius plan to make back the money is to go to like a Storage Wars like storage, whatever it's called, facility auction to like try to buy some, basically gambling in like the dumbest way possible. All of that stuff's really fun because it has nothing to do with Minecraft and it's not stupid. But I was really surprised by that. That was all good. I mean, have you heard anything about like that stuff? Any of the like actual real world stuff? I feel like no one's talked about it.
No. I mean, I still like it feels like a movie that was literally crafted by like some psychologist to just appeal to the 8-year-old Minecraft like gamer fans. Is that what it feels like, or does it actually try to be like a coherent movie?
Well, so that's the confusing thing, right? Because it's written by like 5 people, I think, and they went through multiple directors. It's written by 3. It has 3 listed writers. I'm inclined to believe there were far more that worked on it, because it is just, the story is the most stereotypical thing ever. It's like, how do you get to the Minecraft world? Well, there's a magic orb. The magic orb gets you to the Minecraft world. And then the bad guys, they want the magic orb so that they can destroy the Minecraft world. But the good guys want the magic orb so that they can save the Minecraft world. It's like, that's as deep as it goes. That's the
It needs
story
to be
of it.
approachable.
Well, yeah, but like, to what, fish? Like, anyone could understand that. Like, it's the dumbest, most surface level thing you could imagine. They have all these different writers. They went through a bunch of different directors. I had to read about it afterwards because it's Jared Hess directing it, who did like Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre, which I like both those movies a lot.
Oh, really? That's crazy.
I think they're pretty funny. And that's why I think the town stuff works so well, because they're like in the middle of, I think, Idaho or something like that. And it's like this small town, and there's a potato chip factory, and that's the whole like the economy of the town is made up of this potato chip factory, and that's why our main characters live there. It's really weird, and it's silly, and it's dumb, and all the characters are like quirky. There's the teacher characters are all like these sad saps. One goes on like a whole rant about how he's like, my financial situation is awful. I am in a constant state of anxiety and worry. And it was hilarious. I was like actually laughing in the theater. I loved all of that. And that's why I'm talking about it so much, because there isn't like anything else to say about the Minecraft stuff. It's all just so boring and so lame. I wanted to, I like the, and oh my God. Okay. So the chicken jockey thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows about the chicken jockey thing. That's like an hour and a half into the movie, and a bunch of people in our theater, when it happened, they stood up and they went, chicken jockey, and they started clapping and like getting really excited. and then it just went silent again. It was completely silent. I feel like I was the only one laughing at the stuff like in that opening town section, which I really loved. I like can't stress that enough. I want that whole movie about the potato chip town in Idaho. Like that's hilarious. But everything else was just dead silent. Chicken jockey happens, and then there's like another half hour of the movie, and you just sit there and you know exactly what's going to happen. It's like, okay, they're going to get the orb. Someone's going to get the orb, and then someone's going to have to get the orb back. And that's it.
That's
like,
the whole thing.
It's so bad. And the main little kid, bless his heart, he's horrible. He's awful.
Isn't he like a producer's son or something? Like,
I tried to find out because I had heard that. Someone was like, "Isn't it Paul Rudd's nephew or something like that?" I could not get a discernible answer. I could not even find the kid's age because I was like, does he know how to read yet? Is that why he's so bad? Is he like 6? But
is this a medical condition? Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah, I know. Well, Luke, that's very insensitive because he does have a lisp.
Oh,
and I think it was supposed to be cute. Yes, you should eat your words on that one. I'm afraid.
Awkward. I've not seen it. That's my get out of jail free card. I didn't.
That's fair. Well,
yeah.
when you do see it, you'll be like, oh yeah, he does suck. Well, how did that happen? What is going on? It does feel like it's like a nepotism thing or something. He was in a few other movies. I did actually check. He was in like, I don't know, but shit I haven't seen or that I don't care about. But he was in it at least. He got cast in things before the Minecraft movie, so at least there's that. But I'm trying to think of like other things to point to. Jack Black, like he clearly really loves Minecraft. But he just says Minecraft things, like in all the trailers and stuff, where he's like, Flint and Steel. I said chicken jockey and all this stuff. And he just says it. And it's like, oh, yeah, he knows what it is. And now the characters know what it is. And now the audience knows what it is.
Yeah, I mean, my worry with this is that with it being pretty successful, because apparently it's pretty successful, like the executives are going to learn all the wrong lessons from it. And they're like, oh, so we just have to make it really memeable. If we make a new movie, like we're going to make, I don't know what the other one would be, like, what's another kid's game? Roblox the movie. And they just like throw in a bunch of little bitty memes about it. And they're like, oh, Timmy committed Roblox. And they just try really hard to make it go viral. It's going to learn all the wrong lessons, because like I think that this is one of those movies that is just a bad movie. It's just bad, but it's found sort of accidental success because of the memes. Because I'll be real, the only reason I would go is the potential of people throwing popcorn at me and bringing an actual chicken to the theater. Like that sounds fun, but the movie itself I could care less about, you know?
Well, yeah, go to the zoo then. Like, go to a carnival. Like, that's all of it is like the most dumb. Like, no one's going to the movie to watch the movie. And there was nothing clearer than that, than how depressing the like actual theater room was. Because there were people talking. There was like, I don't know how old they were, but there was a row of young people behind me. And they were just, it was like your stereotypical like high schooler, just the most cynical thing. He was talking really loudly, like any trailer that would come on. It's like, that looks like a pile of shit. I can't believe they would even try that. I mean, what are we even doing here? And at the start of the movie, like it's Jack Black narrating all this shit. And he's like, oh my God, this is so fucking bad. I can't believe this. And then one of his friends goes, dude, shut up.
Dude, stop.
and he just stopped and he never talked again until Chicken Jockey.
It's like straight out of those like
Jockey.
AGDQ clips where it's like, I would really prefer if you stopped talking.
Tell me more about pigs in video games, or whatever he says. The many pigs in video games. Yeah. Hey, they have a pig in the movie though.
Oh,
there's a pig in the movie, and I clapped when I saw the pig in the movie. And there was Flint and Steel in the movie, and there's a creeper in the movie. Yeah, man, it stunk. I wanted to leave really badly, and I didn't.
Well, dude, and they're doing more. They're doing like they're doing another Five Nights at Freddy's movie. And I'm sorry, that first Five Nights at Freddy's movie, that sucked ass. So
it was
bad.
Awful.
It was so bad.
It was very bad.
Like, I appreciate that they made the effort to have the costumes and the like animatronics, actual animatronics, not just CGI everything. Like, that's a cool tidbit. But as a movie, it was just bad, and it didn't go anywhere, and it was, I don't know. It felt like half the movie was missing.
Yeah, again, it comes down to writing, because I think that a lot of the directors they have attached to these projects are like really talented. Like the Five Nights at Freddy's movie looks nice in a lot of ways. Like it's pretty good looking, not just with like the practical stuff, but also with how they shoot some of the stuff around the pizzeria. It's not bad. She's like, I think the director of that, she's not like a huge name director, but she's all right. Jared Hess, I do genuinely love. He's very quirky. He works with his wife, and they love their like middle America, small town, weird stuff, and just being kind of like quirky and weirdly grounded while also just being like completely disconnected from reality. Like it's a really weird thing that could have worked well for the Minecraft movie, but I do think that it came down to like executives being like, okay, how do we make the Minecraft movie? And it's like, okay, you hire someone that likes it or that knows about it to write about it.
Get that guy from Jablinski Games.
Exactly. Hire Minecart Greg from YouTube, who's made 1 million Minecraft movies, and just have him as a consultant or something. Or just ask Jack Black. Apparently he knows everything.
But
he
even that's
Minecraft.
dangerous, because like we were talking about earlier on stream, like when you get the content creators and they just are like, they'll provide the feedback that is best for them, but I mean, a lot of like content creators and streamers or YouTubers are also very out of touch, and they make YouTube videos. They don't make movies, you know? So like, they don't really know what they're doing. So it's just kind of tricky. Like, I think that's why the Last of Us show kind of worked, because they got Craig Mazin. Like he did Chernobyl, an amazing TV show. And so he's just a great writer, and he just knew what he was doing. But with the Minecraft movie, it's like, what kind of director do you get to do something like that? Like, it's the Minecraft movie. You're not going to get James Cameron. You're not going to hire somebody like you have to find somebody that's going to make a movie that would work in that same vein. And I don't even know what kind of movie would be in the same vein. Like the Lego movie, maybe you get that guy.
Yeah, get Phil Lord and Chris Miller to write it. I mean, they did Spider-Verse. It probably would have been way better if they had written it. But I honestly, we can look at the writers real quick. Do we want to see who wrote it and see what they've done? Because it's not any of the Hesses.
Watches it's Todd Howard's brother who wrote all those Barbie movies.
Oh, okay, here we go. So it is a writer that has worked with Jared Hess and his wife, whose name is Jerusha. Jared and Jerusha Hess.
Wow. That's tough. Jared and Jerusha Hess.
Jerusha, I think is how you say it. He's written some stuff with them. This guy's name is Chris Bowman. He, of course, did the hit film Middle School, The Worst Years of My Life.
Okay.
95 Senses. I believe that was a Hess film as well. Don't know anything about it. I don't see anything else with him. He worked on some animated stuff. Then there's, of course, Hubble Palmer. You know Hubble Palmer, right?
Of course not.
Same exact thing. Also worked with the Hesses. Looks like he worked on a lot of the same movies. Oh, and then here we go. Neil Widener also is listed as one of the main 3 writers. I don't know if there were more. I just see the top 3 that they have on IMDb. But he's currently writing the Paramount Beyblade movie.
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot they were doing a Beyblade movie.
He's also writing Now You See Me 3, which is called Now You See Me, Now You Don't, which is the 3rd movie after Now You See Me 2. So it's Now You See Me, Now You See Me 2, Now You See Me, Now You Don't, which makes perfect sense.
My brain!
So yeah, I don't think we're exactly dealing with like...
Yeah,
I'm sure they went to Harvard.
This
or some
isn't
shit,
Citizen Kane. Yeah,
they're not.
Yeah.
They're trying to make the Minecraft movie, and they're trying to go home to their families at night and not be kept in a boardroom where they're like, well, I don't know. I don't understand what an Enderman is. Can we have a scene explaining that? I don't get what an Ender Pearl is. Can we have a scene explaining
which one of them is Minecrafted?
Yeah, literally. There's a part where Jack Black says we have to mine and craft, and it's like that could have worked as like a tongue-in-cheek dumb line if everything else wasn't constantly being explained. Like everything is just, this is this, and this is how this works, and this is how this works. There's no mystery, there's no intrigue.
It's like they were worried that they were going to be flooded with audiences that had never played Minecraft before and didn't know anything about it, when in reality, the only people seeing this movie are people familiar with Minecraft. You know, like...
I think so, but also, like, if I put myself into the executive shoes for a second, like, if I'm sitting there and I'm reading the Minecraft movie's, script, and I've never played Minecraft, like, my kid likes it, I don't know a thing about it, and he's reading it, is like, I bet they were just like, what's this? What's this? Why is this? What is this?
Yeah, explain that.
Like, I need to know the world. It's all about world building, right? You have to build this
building
world.
The blocks, like in Minecraft.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to craft the story and have it come from your mind.
Yeah. We are Minecrafting the world for the viewers. Yeah. I think that's definitely what they're doing. Well, I mean, I'll say I'm not overwhelmingly impressed. What you wrote in your message on Discord. For a movie about creativity and imagination, it would have been cool to see anything remotely inventive or clever, but the movie is just very plain and very dumb. I laughed more than I thought I would, but I was also more bored than I've been in the theater since watching Gemini Man with Will Smith. That's a movie with 2 Will Smiths in it, and it sucks my balls.
Yeah, dude, that movie stinks. I left. There's that movie. We don't need to do a Gemini Man review, but Gemini Man is a movie where Will Smith must hunt down a younger Will Smith, and it's awful, and it's very generic and very boring.
Oh,
and
you
they
know
shot
there
action
was
scenes in like 60 FPS, and it sucked.
I remember seeing those clips, and it looks fan made because of I think the FPS being so high. It just looks like a soap opera. But
Oh yeah,
yeah, that Gemini Man thing, you know, some executive producer was like, it's a movie where Will Smith just gets to be Will Smith, and it's gonna be so great because Will Smith is amazing. It's
because Jaden Smith got too weird, and they were like, "Okay, we can't have you with your son anymore. Let's just just 2 Will Smiths.
Yeah, just 2 of those.
We only have to pay him once, really. I mean, that works great."
Problem solved. Oh man. Well, I appreciate you coming in, giving us your review, breaking it down
no
for
problem. I will say, no one go see it. If you want to go to a movie and like yell and throw things, go see like The Room, do a room screening, or Rocky Horror Picture
Yeah, I've heard
Show.
the room screenings are really cool.
Yeah, as long as Tommy Wiseau isn't there. I've heard that's a nightmare. But if one of the other guys is there, it's usually fun.
I have also heard that Tommy makes it very uncomfortable. Like it's cool to see him, but it's like being in the presence of an alien. Like nobody knows what to do, and yeah, it's an experience. Mark is cool though. Oh, hi Mark. What's his actual
I have
name?
a signed poster. Greg Sestero. I have
Greg.
a signed poster from him on my wall.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, he seems like a genuinely super nice guy, super cool guy too. What a story,
Yeah, I think
Mark.
So there you go. Well, everybody, now you know what? I know I said earlier, don't watch the Minecraft movie, but you know what? Maybe we'll go watch the Minecraft movie. Yeah, now they don't know what to do.
Now, we got them guessing. That's right where we want them. Yep.
No, dude, fuck that. I wanted to leave so bad. Don't watch it. Bad.
No, but big stinky. Well, appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, goodbye. Is there anyone else we can get in to do a little review? Was Limit Breaks? Did he do a review?
I don't know. Limit did send in some messages. I'm not sure if he's ready for voice chat or anything, but yeah, Jimothy also said, my friends and I streamed an unreleased, unfinished version, and the visuals were an absolute fever dream. Made it 100 times better. The movie was ass though, but in the best possible way. Can't remember a single thing about the plot. Dude, I may or may not have one time gone to see Cats the musical after popping an edible, and the movie rocks, man. That movie was pretty good. When you're
James Corden as a big fat cat, was that really good?
Dude, it actually okay, like if you don't know, it's okay, but like for everybody at home, Cats as a musical was apparently like huge when it launched. Like it was their Hamilton, it was their, I don't even know what else to compare it to. Like it was huge, but it sucked. And it like, it's just a bad musical when you fast forward to modern audiences, quote unquote. It's just not great. And, as a result, it just feels really weird and really stupid. So, like there were a bunch of 50-year-old or whatever women in the theater with us, and they were thoroughly enjoying Cats the musical, but we're a bunch of college students giggling our asses off to this really terrible, terrible movie with just Taylor Swift showing up as a cat and then like James Corden walking around as a fat cat. Like it just was so bad, but they were taking it very seriously and were very upset that we found it so funny at moments when it definitely was not meant to be funny. What's crazy is the director of that Cats movie is the same guy that directed Les Miserables with Hugh Jackman back in 2012 that won all those awards. So he won like I don't know if it was Oscars, but like they won a lot of awards for Les Mis. And then he convinced them to do Cats the musical with a massive budget, and it was a colossal failure. Like it basically destroyed that guy's career. It's really sad.
Yeah, good thing too. awful. It was terrible. I remember when I went and saw it, there was like 5 people in the theater, and they all knew that like why they were seeing it, because they thought were like, oh, it's gonna be so bad, it's funny. And there was a little old lady sitting alone, and I remember the theater was across the street from a hospital, and halfway through, she like very slowly got up, clutching her chest, and walked out. And I was like, I bet she just went over to the hospital and died. I was sick of Catch the Musical. It just killed her. She was done. She left and never came back. She was just done.
She's like, I'm out. This is it. This is all I got. That's freaking funny. The Les Mis movie wasn't that good either. I mean, for singing live, I thought it was impressive. You know, some of the casting choices were curious, but I thought it was pretty solid. But yeah, I mean, man. Oh, we do have limit breaks in the waiting room.
Get him in here. Get him in here.
Yeah, limit breaks. You can give us your breakdown. Let me see. Did it work? He's here.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Hi.
Hey guys, how are you? Good. How are you?
There's
We're getting a little feedback.
There's a little feedback on it.
Didn't like the Minecraft. Did it broke your heart?
Yeah, it broke Jacob, but you know what, Jacob, you seem to be recovering pretty well. I think that's what's impressive to me. Your resolve.
I've bounced back.
You bounced back. Did you have to take like a lonesome walk around a lake afterwards and just skip some stones?
I mean,
Yeah.
I ate a lot of pizza afterwards. I ate too much pizza, and then I just kind of sat down, and I was like, "Oh man, it is as bad." I don't know. Limit breaks. You seemed higher. You seemed higher on the pain threshold for this kind of torture. What did you think of Minecraft Steve movie?
I enjoyed the visuals. I thought they did pretty well, like representing Minecraft. Like, and the family seemed to like it. Like, I'm not huge into Minecraft, but they play it. But yeah, I mean, I thought like they did well representing the actual, you know, Minecraft world. But the plot was really all over the place. And like you said, Jack Black just, you know, he did his Jack Black-esque thing. So, but yeah.
I'm always
Fuck that movie.
Yep.
It stunk.
I look like at the end of the movie, I look like Lou Ferrigno at the end of The Incredible Hulk, like just kind of walking down the highway with a sad face.
Oh yeah, the sad piano music.
Yeah,
So I mean, I guess they did what they did with the plot. I mean, you couldn't really do too much with it. So, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, you know, but that's the thing is maybe the Minecraft movie is exactly what they wanted it to be, where they're like, yeah, it sucks, but like the kids are liking it. It's made money. You can't really argue with that. Like it seemed to have worked.
So,
you know?
yeah, they knew exactly what to do as far as making money.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I like that Jason Momoa was like the Billy Mitchell, like Donkey Kong and stuff, you know, like they were kind of throwing that out there.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he was kind of
has
good.
been, you know, yeah. So they did what they had to do, you know, they did their parts and everything. So, but yeah, like Jacob said, I wouldn't run to see the movie or anything like that. So
Yeah, I've seen, like Jimothy said in the Discord when he's like, he and his friends streamed an unfinished version. I've seen clips of that, and if anybody has not seen that, you can find them on X or TikTok, whatever. Because apparently it's like it's some version of the game or of the movie that was still in production when they hadn't finished any of the visual effects. So they have a bunch of like placeholder animations. They just have like things that are not animated. It's still green screened, and it's very much a work in progress. But I almost feel like that version of the movie would be more entertaining if you're not experiencing the memes in the theater, you know?
yeah. Is Nikki and the boys, are they going to watch it eventually? Or are you guys just going to stay away from it?
I don't know. It's like Nikki, she doesn't really do movies. She's one of those people that like you watch a movie and she's on her phone the whole time. Like she just ADHD all the way. The boys have started getting to the point where they can sit through an entire movie, but it's got to be like they just watched Peter Pan for the first time, for example, or like Wall-E. They loved Wall-E, but I'm not sure if the Minecraft
That's
movie
awesome.
would like hook them, you know?
Maybe put the cats in a room and let them watch it, and you can kind of judge how they act. They'll be running around the room in circles and stuff.
They just start getting possessed.
They
Yeah.
start fighting.
Poor cats. Yeah. Oh, it's I don't know. I'm tempted. Like I said, I've got way too many movie credits. I could go see it and not really feel a blow.
Okay, real quick, let's see all the things you could see instead and see if this is just because I'm of the mind that let's just show times near me. I'm of the mind that a lot of the success is just that people were like, wait. I can yell, scream, and throw things, and I then leave, and like, but they can't call the cops. Like, I think a lot of it was like, I'm gonna go throw things and yell a lot. So you could go see, Snow White. Okay.
Okay,
You
not
could
a
go
great.
see- you could go see Sneaks, the animated film about shoes.
No way. Is that a real thing? There's no way that's a real movie.
Why would I make that?
I don't
up?
know how you would make that up,
Why
but
would I
you
make
said it's
that
called
up?
Sneaks?
It was called Sneaks. Pull it up for the people right now.
Dude.
You could take your shoes off and throw them in the movie theater.
You could. There you go. See?
I thought for sure you were making that up. That's an actual movie.
I don't think it's
Wow.
released yet. I just saw it on the thing. So you could not go see Sneaks right now, but
Released on the 18th.
oh, you could go see a movie about the writers of the Minecraft movies. It's called The Amateur. Heyo. Heyo.
Heyo.
Got him.
Got him. Boom, roasted. That's funny. Sorry, I'm just I pressed the wrong button again. Damn it.
Stream and hi to the chat and everything. So this is awesome.
Yes.
So-
Glad to
yeah,
have you. We'll do it more. I can put you down to the waiting room again. We'll let Kino jump in. But thanks for popping in.
No, thank you so much. You guys take care. All right.
We'll do. You too.
You too. Should I stay here? Should I leave? Or should I also make fun of Kino? I don't know. If
You
Kino's gonna
can
feel
stay.
bad.
We'll wrap up real quick in just a minute and we'll move
Okay.
on. Kino, you there? Maybe. Maybe not.
Oh, you have to say the full Kino spray. Kino spray.
Keen Osprey. You have to say it like a Brit. Oh, I left? Oh, well, there you go.
Come back.
You're gone.
This is like getting on the stage at the Oscars and getting to give a speech. This is
Yeah.
your chance.
This
to
is your
speak
chance to get
America.
up here and slap it up. It's okay. It's okay. We'll do it again. You can chat soon. We'll move on. We'll talk about PlayStation and the Star Wars game. We've got I think we've beat the Minecraft movie to death. It's okay. But thanks
Yeah,
for jumping in, Jake.
Yes. Goodbye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yes, bye. Okay. Wasn't that fun? Wasn't that cool? And we're gonna get to do that a lot more, where we can just pop in if any of the YouTube members or Twitch subs want to jump in and share something. We can open it up to chat, which is kind of cool. Real quick, let's talk about this new segment. Also, real quick, Loxy gifted 6 months. Oh, Jesus. A 6-month tier 1 sub to Katie Cat. Golly. So Katie Cat just got 6 months of membership gifted. That's insane. Well, Katie, make sure to join the Discord. Now you can. That's fantastic. Thank you, Loxy. Very, very generous. Very generous. And then also over on the YouTube side of things, which, let's see. Yeah, Katie's been really active. Thank you for doing that, Loxy. Thank you. That's most definitely what's up.
That's most definitely what's up.
Scooter also, thank you for the new membership as well. And do I think Switch or Nintendo will make a Switch 2 Lite? Yeah, probably in like 2 years, I would guess. Probably. Can you please share the member Discord? I'm pretty sure how it should work is if you, on your Discord account, you go to like integrations, it's in your user settings or your account settings. You just connect your YouTube or Twitch account to it, and then you should receive in your little notifications an invite to the server because you're a part of it. It's like connections. Thank you, Kino. I think Kino just joined like a few minutes ago, so Kino knows what's up. Let's talk about this though. Okay. So, news segment. So this headline was a roller coaster for me. I didn't realize this, but as you can see from Insider Gaming, Mike Straw posted this. Portable PlayStation 6 won't be as powerful as the PS5, it's claimed. This is a roller coaster for me because, for one, I wasn't aware that they were planning on doing a straight up portable PS6. So already I'm like, what? And then they're saying it's going to be weaker than a PS5, which a next gen console that's going to be weaker than the last gen. What? So already I'm just all over the place, but let's read it and see what is being reported here. So Sony is reportedly developing a portable version of the PS6, but it won't doesn't look like, okay, we might need to proofread these, but it doesn't look like it will be a true next gen experience for players. So I think it doesn't look like it. According to Kepler L2 on NeoGAF, take with a big old grain of salt. Just gonna say. He's the same leaker that claimed that Sony's working on 2 SoCs for the PlayStation 6, which is like systems on chip or whatever. So it's 2 different SKUs. Think of it that way. The portable version of the new console won't be as powerful as the current gen PS5. In a reply to a question about the handheld system, Kepler claims that it's a, quote, 15 watt SoC on 3 nanometer, which is like the new trend craziness, especially for handheld stuff. Seems like it's going to offer a ton of power savings and all sorts of craziness. While it's possible the final version of the device won't just be 15 watts, knowing that the SoC sits at that TDP gives an idea as to what to expect. For comparison purposes, the Steam Deck TDP is 15 watts, but can be lowered to improve battery life. The PS5 has 200 watts TDP. The Sony has yet to confirm the existence of a PlayStation 6 portable. Until Insider Gaming can independently verify the information or it becomes official, please take claims with a grain of salt. And that's literally all we have with it. Okay, so this is the extent of it. But if you go with here, you can see back in September, Tom Henderson, the man, the myth, the legend, he also reported on this same rumor, which is that they're working on 2 different SKUs, one that would be a handheld and one that would be a more traditional console. Now let's, taking it with a grain of salt, let's explore this mentally. How many of you guys in the various chats would be interested in a portable handheld device that is significantly underpowered compared to its partnered console? Because here's the thing. People give the Xbox Series X crap because it's the weakest link in this chain that is console gaming. And that was roughly, like, it was a little bit more powerful than the One X was, right? So it's held back, like by definition, it's held back the generation because it's weaker than those, because it's requiring all the games that are made for Xbox are also made for that. And if it's cross-platform, even the games made for the PlayStation 5 Pro have to also work on the Series S, right? If it's fully cross-platform. So it's held that back. Imagine if Sony releases this PlayStation 6 handheld, portable, whatever. They release this and they require that all PlayStation games, PlayStation 6 games, have to also run on that handheld. We're talking about a bigger gap than even the Series S to the Series X, because or Series S to the next one, right? Like what we're talking about would be similar to them launching a PS5 and then a PS5 portable that is weaker than the PS4. That's basically what's being described. Now, TDP is not everything. There's all sorts of things with efficiency, with upscalers and things. It's not just about raw wattage, okay? And I think that's important to specify. We're not saying that, like, oh, if the PS5 were a 4070 or 4060, then this is going to be weaker than that. It's going to be like a 3050. We're not saying that. We're talking about wattages. That's basically all that's going on here. But there is a rough rule of thumb that the more power your chip can consume and suck up, then the harder it can push out and the more it can do. But I really think, like Falcon says in Twitch chat, they're going to rely a lot on upscalers and stuff, similar to the Switch 2, which absolutely is requiring or relying a lot on those different techniques to allow it to render at a much lower resolution, which preserves power and is able to crank up efficiency. But just in concept, let's even say it's roughly in line power-wise with the PS5. I still I don't know, man. I don't love this trend of having a really underpowered console that holds back multi-platform releases. I just don't like it. I just don't. Okay. I understand that having a portable device or a cheaper device like a Series S is good for a sliver of the market that either couldn't afford the full Series X or that wants to play the games on the go. But I feel like when you do that on the console side, it is creating the lowest common denominator that literally by definition will hold everything back, because you have to develop for the weakest device. You just do. That's how it works. And so I feel like I just don't like it. I just don't like it. At least if you have like a Steam Deck, it's an option, but it's not required. If you release on PC and your game isn't Steam Deck verified, people go, oh, that's a bummer, but okay. It's not a big deal. But if you're talking about a PlayStation 6 portable and they require you to also support it fully day one, and it has to meet certain performance standards and metrics, that will hold back the game, because they don't have the option of just not being PlayStation Portable verified. They don't have the option of, like on Steam, oh, we're just not Steam Deck verified. They don't have that option. They have to get it approved there. Now, the other option for PlayStation is they don't actually connect the two. Think of what they did with like the PSP, right? Or like the Vita, where you have your own games basically, but you have like Uncharted on PlayStation 3, but then you also have the PS Portal version. Or the PSP version or the Vita, whatever. I don't see that as very likely, because you also are then splintering off your dev teams, and you're splintering off different resources, which I don't think they like. I think they like the idea of you having one team that works on God of War Egypt or whatever, and then they get to port that to the handheld, they port that to the PlayStation 6, they do backwards compatibility, whatever they do. So I just don't like it. I don't like this trend. And it seems like it's something Xbox is exploring as well. It may just be the new thing. I think really at the end of the day, the next 10 years of gaming is all going to be about scalability. I think that seems to be the case. They're not looking to have like really powerful consoles that set the bar and then everybody has to just push that bar. They're going to have a wide spread where they have the Series X, they have the Series S, they have the handheld device, they have the PlayStation 6, the PlayStation 6 Portable, they have the PlayStation 5 Pro, the PlayStation 5, and the goal is to just have games that can scale all the way across that like spectrum. And it's similar to how it works on PC. I mean, on PC, there are some games that, they have super high ceilings where if you have the power to push it, it can look shocking, like Cyberpunk. But if you need to run it on weaker hardware, you can do that too. And it may not look anywhere near as good, but you can technically run it. And I think that's the goal with the console games now, is they just want to build in a ton of scalability. But ultimately, it doesn't change the fact that when you have the weakest common denominator, that is where the floor is. You can't raise the floor at all. You can't push it, because you have to still be able to run on that weakest hardware. This generation, it's been the Series S. It just has been. Next generation, honestly, the next few years, it might be the Switch 2. I don't know. We'll see if the Switch 2 can compete relatively with the Series S in terms of like memory transfer speeds and different things like that, which have held back the Series S. But time will tell. But I think in the next few years, you'll see the Switch 2 be a big priority for multi-platform releases, I'm guessing. We really don't need so many handhelds. I mean, handhelds they're becoming more and more popular, and I think it's a lot to do with the Switch being so successful, and then it's also a lot to do with like the Steam Deck and ROG Ally. Xbox is about to do their own. PlayStation kind of already did their own with the PS Portal, but they're going to do, it seems, an actual gaming device that plays the game natively. And I mean, people are buying them. People are interested. I own multiple handhelds. I have a Switch. I have a Switch OLED, and I've got my ROG Ally. Nikki has her Steam Deck. Like, we use these. It's nice. It's a good option. And I think it's weird that for basically 10 years, there was just no handheld devices. Everybody just kind of gave up on it. And then the Switch came out, was super popular, and people were like, oh, we can do this again. And they hop back on, but I don't know. It's, again, take it with a massive grain of salt, because this is literally, it's one guy, Kepler L2 on NeoGAF. And NeoGAF already as a source, you should be like, But yeah, you can see the full threads can match the power of PS5 in all parameters by 2028. Let's see. The thing is going to get torn to shreds for 50-watt TDP. Even with the Ally X's huge battery, that's only like 1 hour of battery life before you risk under 20%. With a more typical battery, like in the Steam Deck, try 30 minutes. With the Switch's battery, you're lucky to have 20 minutes of runtime. Yeah, that's the thing. Once you start cranking the wattages, like batteries are just... It's the thing that's held back electronics more than anything is battery technology. Like everything else, the power needed has skyrocketed with what we can do in terms of actual like chip design, but power delivery has always been the problem. And that's something where like batteries have just not really advanced to the same level. And so batteries have held back a lot of this tech. That's why you see like amazing advances with your phone, the displays, the processors, everything else. It's amazing what they can do. But the batteries really have not seen that big of a leap, you know. The source is not sourcing. The source is himself. Like the source is a leaker who says he's familiar with the like plans for the PlayStation 6. Again, you take all this with a massive grain of salt, but it jives with what we've heard from other rumors, from other sources suggesting that PlayStation's exploring another option. Like they're exploring handhelds basically. So we'll see. We'll see. Power banks. I mean, that's basically what it requires. You get to the point where you just need a power bank with you when you do things. Like I told you guys, I played KCD2 on my RG Ally while I was on the plane flying back from the Bahamas when we went on vacation in early January. And for that, like we were on the plane for whatever it is, like 6-7 hours total. And so I just had to have my battery bank just plugged into the RG Ally, and it was just like a cable going off of it down into the pocket of the seat, and I just played like that, and it worked great. It was fine, but you just kind of have to mentally build in that you're going to need a power bank. But it was also like that back in the day with the OG Switch. I remember buying a power bank specifically for the Switch for longer gaming sessions. So it's just part of the equation, I guess. It's why I've also never been that like annoyed by the bad battery life on the RG Ally, because I always am just planning on bringing a battery bank with me. But I don't know. Is the Steam Deck OLED that much better than the normal deck? I mean, it does look really, really good. I don't know. For the average person, I don't think it's probably worth the price hike, but that's just me. I love OLED screens too, right? So for me, I would probably justify it in my head, but for the average person, probably not. Dream Corridor, thank you for the 5. Sony has never had the best luck directly exploring Nintendo's tactics. So I don't know if trying to fragment their console experience will work out. Yeah, I don't know either, but I can definitely see how an executive could think that's a really good idea. Because, I mean, can't you imagine like the Jim Ryans sitting around the conference table looking at the data for the Switch 2? They sold how many tens of millions of units? Dude, we got to do it. We got to do it. Hyperion Luke, do you think handhelds might be a way from these tech companies to sell lower cost options? Consider console prices will continue to skyrocket. I mean, that assumes that the price of the handhelds will be low. I'm not so sure about that. Like, I think everything will rise. All of the prices will rise. I mean, I do think if the question is also like, if the question is also like, do I think that the series, like whatever they call it, the PlayStation 6, I think that probably starts at like 1,000 or like 900 to 1,000. I think they're going to crank it, dude. I think the Switch 2 has kind of set the precedent to crank the price a little bit higher, and they're already raising the price of the PlayStation 5 in international markets as well. I think they're just going to slowly step it up. PlayStation 5 Pro is 700. Next gen console, maybe they started at 700 for like the cheapest version, the digital version, and then the higher end version is like $800-900. I think they're just going to try to keep creeping it up. And they'll probably use the tariffs also as like a built-in excuse for it. Because like the tariffs won't always be there. Even if like they last for 4 years. After 4 years, like they probably go away with the next administration, even if they were to stay that way. Or they get adjusted or whatever. But you better believe they're going to keep the prices high. Like, I think if you see companies cranking the price of these consoles up, they're not going to magically be like, oh, we've lowered the prices now that they've gone away. I think they're seeing it as a golden opportunity to just keep it locked in, you know? Yeah. Do they they've learned anything from the PSP and Vita? I mean, I don't know if they're looking to that for inspiration. I think they're mainly looking to the Switch to try and learn from that. I think they made some mistakes with the Vita and PSP and stuff, mostly around the games and how they worked. But I think those problems can be avoided nowadays just with the tech that they have. So I think instead of having dedicated games just for the handheld device, they're going to try to have PlayStation 6 games or PS5 games playable on that device as well, and just require that they basically are in parity, I think. Dream Corridor, thank you again. Very generous. My goodness.
Dream Corridor donated $10 through Super Chat. We're never going to see previous console worldwide sales numbers like the PS2 or even PS4 if price drops don't happen. Unless GTA V is a system seller beyond all imagination.
Yeah, I think people are being more tactical with their purchasing. GTA 6 will do gangbuster numbers, of course. I think that will help. But yeah, it's just the world changes, you know. Prices rise and people have to be a little bit more careful. And you know, back when the PS4 was cheap, I mean, I remember the PS4 Slim refresh model being $300 across the board. And stuff like that. I think people would have one console in their living room, one console in their bedroom, one console in their gaming room. I knew people that had multiple PS4s all throughout their house, and they would just bounce around depending on where they were playing. Nowadays, I don't think that's anywhere near as common. You know, I think people will buy the one console and just call it a day. But you know, time will tell. Time will tell. I don't think I'm much less cynical when it comes to the industry. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Nintendo priced this at Nintendo priced these games at 80. The gaming crash is coming. Get ready. Everything's about to go belly up." I'm not convinced that that's the case. I mean, I like I said, I think the gaming crash already like started 2 years ago, but it's specifically a AAA gaming crash for AAA games from third party devs. I think that's already started to happen. Like, you've already seen Warner Brothers, EA, Take-Two, like they've canned tons of their big AAA projects, and it's because of games like Forspoken. Square Enix is probably the biggest guy that's like suffering, but you've seen them cancel a ton of those games, and it's because of games like Saints Row, Forspoken. Like, there's just tons of these third-party AAA games that just hemorrhaged money. So, yeah. Star Wars stuff. Yeah, we should talk about that. Let's do it. Real quick, Samaya, thank you for that. I remember when people used to read books in planes instead of watching movies and playing video games. The end times are near. Well, they're coming. They're coming. 53, thank you for that one. How do we find out when you're on Discord? You can ping me if you have a message you want to send me. I get notifications for all those. So I'll try to get to them. But we're going to try to do like... I still have to figure out how to get the calendar working on the Discord, but I'll schedule like the streams. We'll schedule our game nights. We'll schedule stuff like that. We might play Jackbox together, things like that. Have a good time. I probably will have like alpha codes to give away for like Marathon. So if we want to play Marathon together when they put that up, maybe we send that out and we can do game nights where we play that together. We're also going to do things like if I have a copy of a game to give away because I got an extra copy, I'll give it away to people on the Discord, stuff like that. So it'll be good. It'll be good. And then let's see, Perk Angle, thank you for the 5. Subbed a couple months ago, but haven't watched consistently until recently. Really enjoy your insight. Thank you, my friend. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. And thank you for the 5. That's very generous. Thank you. Yeah, the history with Rockstar and PC ports is it's typically about 18 months. That's typically how long they take. So that's what I would expect. I think we don't see GTA 6 on PC until early to mid 2027. That's my guess. Is Marathon's playtest PC only? I don't think so, but I do think it's North America only. But don't quote me on that. There's the alpha playtests, and then the rumor is that they're going to do a beta like a few weeks after that. That's fully open to everybody. I'm not sure if we'll be allowed to stream the alpha, but we may be able to stream the beta, or we should be able to stream the beta. That's my understanding. But do you think PC gaming would become more popular, taking into account the consoles are getting closer? Yeah, I mean, just last year, I think I actually bookmarked a story about this. The only sliver of the games industry that grew was PC. Did I bookmark it or did I not? I don't see it. Maybe I didn't. But yeah, PC gaming has been growing consistently. Console gaming has kind of stagnated, which is very interesting. But let's talk about this real quick. Okay. News segment. Well, everyone, this was not expected for today, but a new Star Wars game has been announced out of nowhere from Respawn. The guys behind Apex, the guys behind Jedi Survivor, all those guys. What is happening? Well, to be clear, it is from BitReactor in collaboration with Respawn. BitReactor, let me see. BitReactor Games. Yeah, so they specialize in strategy games. And we'll talk about it in just a second. But yeah, yeah, copyright 2022. They got to update their website. But this is like their specialty, okay? This is what they do. This is their focus. We've collectively developed some of the most successful games you've heard of, such as XCOM, Civilization, Gears of War, and ESO. We learned from the best and reached pinnacle with our highest accolades, including Game of the Year and BAFTA. Wow. And they're working with Respawn. Wow. What are they doing? Well, a newly announced single-player turn-based tactics game developed by 8-Bit Reactor in collaboration with Respawn and Lucasfilm Games. We'll share the first details about the game currently in development with attendees at Star Wars Celebration Japan. Here's your first exclusive look at Star Wars Zero Company and just a few members of the elite squad under your command. Just a little sliver right there. Ooh, baby. Stay tuned to StarWars.com for more details after the panel at Star Wars Celebration Japan on 4/19 at 4:30 p.m. Japan Standard Time, I think is what JST stands for. Japanese Standard Time, maybe. But yeah, they're going to do a little panel. When this reveals and releases like actual gameplay, I don't know. I would guess maybe Summer Games Fest they do demos or something if they're announcing it right now. That just seems to line up pretty well. But yeah, this has been rumored for a while. There were some leaks that Respawn was helping work on a turn-based Star Wars game, which was kind of surprising. But there is a market for it. The turn-based strategy market is bigger than you might think. There's a lot of like hardcore gamers that are really into it. But we'll see how it turns out. What it seems like is 8-Bit or BitReactor is actually like they're on their game. They know what they're doing. So we'll see. And Respawn, of course, knows what they're doing typically. Not with launch optimization, I'll say that, but they typically are pretty good. So make of that what you will. I wasn't expecting that to be revealed today, but it was. And then they're going to be revealing more at Star Wars Day Japan or whatever. And so next week, we probably should hear more and be able to talk about it. Maybe they even do a gameplay trailer or something. But I'm into it. I like turn-based strategy games. I like that. I'm into it. I just hope it doesn't suck because most Star Wars stuff has sucked recently. So I'm optimistic, but cautiously optimistic. Let's just say we'll see. Let me guess. No KOTOR stuff? No. I do find it really funny that they have had to say so many times that they are still working on that. Which, like, how often do you have to do that? For any other game, you're like, hey, guys, we're making this. And then you just take so long and you're so quiet while you're working on games that people are just like, hey, was this canceled? Do you guys still have jobs? And it's like, yep, we're working on it. Chill. But they just constantly have to do it. It's just very funny to me. They just constantly have to mention it. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, there you go. There's Star Wars stuff. There you go. Okay. And Probably our last segment. Let's touch on this real quick. New segment. Ooh, yeah. This one's going to piss off some people. Get ready for the comments. It's going to be toxic. You ready? Okay. It's happened. What some said was nigh impossible. What some said could not be done has been done. AC Shadows. According to Circana, which is a data tracking firm, they follow like sales data, performance of entertainment stuff. It is apparently the best-selling game for 3 weeks in a row, and it is now the second best-selling game of the entire year, behind only Monster Hunter Wilds, which by itself is already insane. I think they've already sold 10 million copies of Monster Hunter Wilds, which is ridiculous, but that's Monster Hunter for you. But they apparently are now, they've been number one for 3 weeks in a row, and now they are the number 2 highest selling game, beating out games like KCD2, Split Fiction, which also, you know, was of course highly reviewed and stuff. So they're doing well. You know, they're doing pretty well. So buckle up for the comment section of this stream clip, because I'm sure there's going to be people being like, actually, Luke, that doesn't mean it's success. I get it. Okay, I get it. Here's the deal, okay? Assassin's Creed, as I said, even if it was like significantly worse than it ended up being, still would have sold pretty well. AC is huge. It just is. It just is. I mean, you don't have to love it. It just is a big franchise, and a lot of casual gamers eat it up and play tons of it. They just do, okay? Even when the games I think are not very good, like AC Valhalla, I really did like that game, but it sold gangbusters, okay? So pretty clearly, raw quality of the game does not directly translate to the financial performance. They're somewhat independent of each other. And in the case of AC Shadows, it's performed well. Now, well enough to save Ubisoft magically? No, I don't think there was a situation, though, where it could have. They, of course, announced the merger, well, not quite merger, but basically the creation of a separate entity that they moved AC, Rainbow, and Far Cry into. And that separate entity now is partially owned by Tencent. And then the old entity is still owned by Ubisoft, but Ubisoft licenses out the IP to the new entity. It's complicated.
Dream Corridor donated $10 through Super Chat. Will this mean that YouTube content creators will stop using Steam database tracking as a barometer to judge if a game has players or not? The world may never know.
I mean, I think as long as it's available as a tool, they will still use it. I'm honestly kind of surprised that that Steam allows for that data to be shared, because I'm not sure what, other than, I guess, knowing how many players are in live service games, so you know before you buy it if there's a player base, that can be really helpful. But I'm just surprised they open up that data, because it seems like it's used more often than not to like try to bash games as opposed to hype them up. But you know, sometimes it's used to hype them up, like Pal World, for example, popping off. So I don't know. I think people will still use it as long as it's available, but it does show you that just because you can compare this player number to this player number concurrently on Steam doesn't tell you how well it's performing on the whole. It can give you an idea, maybe an impulse idea, but it doesn't tell you more broadly. Because I think, yeah, Dream Corridor is right. I think a huge chunk of AC games especially comes from console. I think AC Shadows was a successful launch for them on PC, launching on Steam, but I think a huge chunk of it is on console for sure. But with all of this, I mean, I think with AC Shadows, the goal was just to get it out there and make some money. And I do think AC Shadows will eventually turn a profit based on what I'm seeing here. This was not like these types of games for Ubisoft don't turn a profit day one. Typically games like this on this massive scale don't turn a profit day one. It might take a week. It might take 6 months. You never know. I think Alan Wake, just in the last few months, Alan Wake 2 turned a profit for the first time. It took like 2 years for them to break even. It's crazy, but that's just how it works. Some of these games represent such major investments that it takes that long to actually break even, and then start making money. So for something like Assassin's Creed, if they're starting to break a profit or break even and turn a profit after 6 months, they're pretty happy. And I'm guessing that's probably where they're going to land with this, especially with the first expansion and all of that. So it's been a solid success for them. And this, I mean, you can tell because in the new entity formed with Tencent, they did not leave AC out of it. They put AC and Rainbow and Far Cry. They put the franchises that they were most confident in, that they think will make them the most money, in that entity that Tencent invested in. You know, Tencent did not invest in Watch Dogs. Tencent did not invest in Just Dance or Beyond Good and Evil 2. They put that money into the entity comprised of the 3 big games that actually make money. And you don't have to like AC, you don't have to like Far Cry, you don't have to like Rainbow, but they do make money. They just do. Rainbow especially just prints money, dude. It's crazy. How much did AC cost to make? We don't know exactly. We can infer, we can deduce, try to figure it out. Most likely it cost like somewhere between 300 and 400 million, maybe. I mean, maybe even less. It could have been between 200 and 350. We just don't know. It's not super clear, but it still should turn a profit pretty easily, I think, within 6 months or so, especially because a lot of people now are buying cosmetics and are buying all the, you know, the map packs, and they're going to play the expansion and jump back into it. And so it's you know, these games are big. There's a reason AC has been around for so long, and why Ubisoft has poured so much money into them, and it's because it's one of the few things they do that really makes them a lot of money. But it's all the more remarkable looking at this information when you remember just how much crap they had to wade through while they were going through the marketing campaign of AC Shadows. The fact that it's you know, it was on the top of the sales chart at all, much less for 3 weeks straight, and now is the second highest selling game of the year. That's just remarkable after all the stuff they had to deal with. It's pretty impressive, but it goes to show you, I think, a good lesson for most of us, which is that at the end of the day, it's just about the game. Like, if the game is solid and people think it looks fun, they'll buy it and play it. It's not just about online discourse. It's not just about what Grums said. It's ultimately, hey, I think that looks really cool. Ooh, I think the graphics look cool. I want to try it. Ooh, I like how the weather effects look. You know, I'll try it. That's ultimately what matters. You know, and that's a good thing, because it means the game is what determines it, not outside forces like peer pressure from social media personalities, which is good. If you care about the games industry, you know, it should be about the games, not about what influencers or media are saying. It's like, if the game is good, it'll do well. If the game is bad, it will do bad. Like, hopefully that is ultimately what determines the success or failure of these things. And if you are somebody that wants the gaming industry to be healthy and performing well, you should be rooting for that, and rooting for good games to do well and bad games to do poorly, because that's ultimately all you need to work with. I saw a comparison between Ghost of Tsushima and Shadows actually held its own. Yeah, I mean, it's also funny because back when Ghost of Tsushima launched, you could go back and watch reviews and stuff. There were plenty of people that were saying that Ghost of Tsushima would be so much better if it wasn't like Far Cry, because it's basically Far Cry mixed with AC with a slower pace, and it works really well. I love Ghost of Tsushima, but it was compared to Far Cry a lot when it launched. And now all of a sudden everybody stopped bringing that up because Far Cry is a Ubisoft game, and you can't praise a Ubisoft game. So you can't bring up those comparisons. You can't be like, yeah, Ghost of Tsushima is like Far Cry done really, really well. It's like, you can't even bring that up at all. You know, it's just funny how the discourse kind of shifted. Let's see. Sumaya, thank you for that super chat. Even on PC, Ubisoft Plus is a thing, and Ubisoft games were exclusively sold on Epic Games for a long time, so it's weird to use Steam numbers as the definitive metric here. Well, exactly, and a lot of people use Ubisoft Plus. A lot of people are playing on console, and then it's also just the danger is looking at concurrent player counts to determine total players, because I've noticed some people just don't understand it. If you have 1,000 concurrent players, that does not mean that your game sold 1,000 copies. It means at this moment, there are 1,000 players who have launched the game and are playing it. There could be 10,000 copies that have been sold, but only 1,000 players are playing at this moment. But some people just don't seem to understand that. It's like, this is just the current people that have launched the executable. I'll play it, or I'll buy a game, but I may not play it till the weekend or till Friday or whenever I have free time. That doesn't mean I didn't buy the game or I'm not playing the game. It just means I'm not currently in that concurrent player count. But I've seen so many instances of people that are like, wow, this game only sold 1,000 copies. It only has 1,000 players. It's like, no, that doesn't tell you that. You know, you got to look at other stuff to include it. Yeah, imagine people having jobs. Yeah, it's like, that's why weekend numbers can be so telling, you know, and it's why you'll also look on SteamDB, steamdb.info, where you can look up like, what's an example? Like Path of Exile 2. If you pull this up, 160,000 in game. Crazy numbers, right? But if you scroll down, you can also see owner estimations from different analytics firms that look at the overall data. They do a bunch of complicated math and try to figure out how many copies roughly they think have sold on that platform. Monster Hunter, World Wilds. Yeah, all-time peak of 1.3 million. That's crazy, dude. And they're guessing just on PC, like probably somewhere around 5 to 5.5 million if you just average them. That's crazy. Just on PC. But you look at this, people are like, wow, only 60,000 copies? It's like, no, dude, way more. Granted, you could have looked back at the all-time peak, which was insane, but isn't it crazy that this game is sitting at basically 59%, 60%? Only 60% of reviews are positive out of 200,000. And it's still sold over 10 million copies. Like, can you imagine? Like, it's just shocking. It's shocking. They're giving away Monster Hunter Wilds with the purchase of AMD CPUs. Oh, interesting. I do wonder what the kickback is, because all of those things, they're not just giving away the game. They usually are getting a kickback from AMD. AMD gives them like $30 a copy. You know, it's like, and the numbers are always way more surprising than you would think. Yeah, I don't know. Lost my train of thought. Why the hell have we still not heard anything on Far Cry? Usually it's max 3 years between games. Because they're like the new philosophy at Ubisoft, new philosophy, quote unquote, is to take your time and put it out when it's ready. I know that sounds shocking that that's a revelation they've had, but it's just been clear after Star Wars Outlaws and Avatar and all these other games, they can't just shove stuff out and then fix it later. They have to have it done and polished. And it's something I told one of the media guys at Ubisoft. I was like, it might not be fair. Maybe it's downright unfair. It's unreasonable that Ubisoft is held to a higher standard than other companies. Monster Hunter Wilds can launch with 60% reviews. Like, this is a D. This is technically a failing grade, 59%. Like, this is a failing grade, and they still sold 10 million copies. The port was terrible. PC port was terrible for Monster Hunter Wilds. That's all true. But for Capcom, they can get away with it. Right now, Ubisoft cannot get away with it. Okay? You can't. You just can't. So whether it's fair or not, I just need you to, like, do not give anybody any ammunition. And I told the marketing guy, I was like, you can't give them anything. Polish the game. Then nobody can complain about the performance. And it's like, hey, it actually runs really well. It's really well optimized. It's like, oh. And that's what you saw with Shadows. People were trying to find ways to attack the performance. And it's like, actually, it's a really solid port. It's really well optimized for PS5 Pro as well. And they somehow got it Steam Deck verified, even though initially they didn't think they would. It's like, ooh, okay, so we can't go after that. And then it's like, well, graphically, it's also like pretty impressive. Not so much the cutscenes and lip sync. That's a very valid critique, I think. But like hair sim, cloth sim, all these other things. It's a hugely expansive world. Like there was plenty of things to point at and praise. And it's because like you can't give them ammunition to attack you. Give them all the ammunition to praise you. But all of those potential holes they could poke in it with the AI, with PC performance and optimization, polish it and skip that. Just skip it. Is HE Shadows 60 on PS5? There's a performance mode, or you can play fidelity. There's like performance, fidelity, and then if you're on PS5 Pro, there's like the Pro version, which basically allows for high quality ray tracing while also hitting 60, which is nice. Yeah, why did Origins have decent lip sync and Shadows in 2025 still has awful scenes? That I genuinely am not sure about. I think it's they did a lot less motion capture for one, and then I also think they had to rebuild a lot of the animations and stuff for Shadows, and so I think they just didn't benefit from a lot of the other stuff that had been built up through previous ones. But yeah, I think pretty clearly, I think that the side quest cutscenes and dialogue and stuff was way better in Odyssey, for example. But yeah, we need more motion capture, man. Yeah, I think there's going to be a game or two that you'll see more of soon that will impress you with the motion capture stuff. Because if smaller teams can do it, I don't know why these big companies struggle so much with it. It's like, you should be able to do it pretty easily, you would think. Anyway. KCD2 is not as big a brand as AC. Oh, are we talking about KCD's performance or something? KCD2 turned a profit. Like, that's the nice thing is that they had a tight budget, and so they turned a profit day one. So they're very, very happy. But yeah, KCD2 is definitely more niche than like AC or Monster Hunter or whatever else. But it's still a huge success for them. No doubt. Let's see. In Dream Quarter, thank you for the 5. Over the last few months, I've been marathon running through through AC series. I'm on AC3. When do these games actually get great? AC3 is a bit of a trudge. Black Flag is the first AC game that doesn't really feel like an AC game in a good way. So that's good. Rogue is good. Unity is better now than it was at launch. It's still kind of rough around the edges. Syndicate is at a weird transitionary period where it's right before they went full open world, but it's at the end after Unity, and it's just kind of a weird game. But still, I like the setting. You should play the Jack the Ripper DLC, by the way. If you get to Syndicate, play the Jack the Ripper DLC, because it looks like AC Hexe is actually going to use some mechanics borrowed from that expansion, from that DLC, which is interesting. See. Am I hyped for Marathon? I try not to get hyped for anything because hype makes you stupid. So not hyped. I'm intrigued. I want to try the game with my friends during the alpha or the betas and see what that's like. The betas. Yeah. But going back to this, as Ackman says, it's a tragic day for all Assassin's Creed Shadows haters. Matt Piscatella, industry analyst, says, here's a fun one. AC Shadows has been the best-selling video game in the U.S. for each of its first 3 weeks in the market. According to Circana's retail tracking service, dollar sales latest data through April 5th currently ranks number 2 year-to-date, trailing only Monster Hunter Wilds. And immediately you see the comments. That's so funny. I mean, big number doesn't usually take away from all the problems the game has. No one said that. We're just saying it sold well. Like, that's it. Actman supporting the multi-billion-dollar corporation after releasing a shitty game. There have been no other games that have released as major titles except those two. You are just as bad as Grums, but on the opposite side of the spectrum. You took this as me supporting Ubisoft. Don't make me tap the sign. Twitter's the only place where well-articulated sentences still get misinterpreted. You can say, I like pancakes, and somebody will say, so you hate waffles? No, bitch. That's a whole different sentence. Yeah. No, it's literally like, even in this stream clip, after all of this, you're going to see in the comments people being like, oh, so Luke's shilling for Ubisoft. I'm reading the data that it performed well, man. Like, cry more. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm not making it up. I didn't write this. But inevitably people are like, oh, so what you're saying is, no, bitch. Mr. White, no. I'm quoting Mr. Piscatella. It's just crazy, man. But it's why it's dangerous to hold to like certain dogma or accept things as true before there's evidence for it. It's why I say like everything's about skepticism, right? All skepticism is not accepting X until there is sufficient evidence for X. Some people though think that they can flip that and just be cynical and be like, no, it's going to suck. That also has a burden of proof. For you to say that X game is going to flop or be bad or terrible, whatever, there's a burden of proof for that too. And data like this, because again, flop has a specific definition. Data like this would go against that thesis, you would think. You've changed, Luke. Yeah, you got me. Yeah. Oh. Just shaking head emoji. Yeah, very upset, very disappointed. But man, I just don't know, man. I don't know. It's performing solidly well, whether or not it is like, I don't know, gonna push Ubisoft to chase more games of this similar style. I'm not sure, but I think they are happy with it. And I have spoken to people that work at Ubisoft who, there's one person in particular I'm thinking of who works at Ubisoft and is a wonderful, wonderful person, but has, let's just say, lots of grievances, you know, and of course I'm not going to name that person because I don't want them to get in trouble with their bosses, but we've all worked jobs where we're not thrilled with what the company we're working for is doing. And I talked to one person who was like that works at Ubisoft, and this person who's like quite frustrated with the direction of the company and everything said, no, everybody's like pretty stoked about it. Internally, people are very pleased with how it's doing. So that's it. You know, if even they are like, yeah, no, actually everybody's like pretty pumped about it. There's actually like a good morale in the studio for the first time in like 9 months. I mean, I think that says a good amount. Like it or hate it just means they'll continue to fund Hex A and future AC games, which is a good thing. Yeah, exactly. Like it wasn't a flop. Is it like a crazy smash success on the level of Valhalla? No, but I don't think it was ever going to be that. And so it seems to have outperformed what they thought it was going to be. You know, they thought it would do X. It did X plus 2. Valhalla did X plus 12, but still, they're happy with it. Yeah. Twitter's miserable. True. Fact check, true. Okay. Let me see if I'm caught up here. Steel and K, thank you for the sub with Prime, my friend. Thank you. Statistically speaking, all these guys bought a copy out of hate. Yeah, dude, there's people who like were raging against AC Shadows, freaking out about it for months and months and months. And literally like bought the game and then like got the platinum and grinded out like dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of hours. It's like at some point it's the same thing like I said earlier with the people that are like bashing the Switch 2 pricing and stuff, and then they share with you the screenshot of their order for the pre-order for the Switch 2, and it's like, I thought you said this was bad. Like what are you doing? Like what happened to principle? You know, I think it says a lot. Yeah, I played this for 500 hours. That'll show him. It's one thing, like if you're reviewing it, that's fine. Like you know, I didn't love AC Valhalla, but I played a lot of it because I had to finish it, and I was like, hey, before I review it and critique it, I'm gonna play it. Like that's fine. But these are not game reviewers. Like these are not game critics trying to evaluate it. These are people that like are raging about it. It's just funny. It's just funny to me. But yeah, cough, Starfield, cough. Dude, I probably made more money on Starfield than Bethesda did. We made a lot of videos on Starfield. Tell you what. But people love talking about Starfield. It's why I said, you know, Starfield I think is like a lol cow of a game in a weird way. People love talking about it and hearing people talk about it. They like to watch it like a creature at a zoo, but they don't like playing it themselves. But people love talking about it, which is a weird phenomenon. Same with Suicide Squad. Same with Concord. Nobody wanted to play those games, but they liked to hear people talk about them. You know? Which is just very interesting. I don't know why I love watching hours of content for Starfield, but never played it. Yeah, I don't. It's a phenomenon that is fascinating. It's fascinating, but I'm also here for it. So there you go. No feeding the Starfield. Yeah. They're the piñatas of gaming. Oh, I like that sarcasm. That's good. The piñatas of gaming. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. Also, shout out on the Discord. We have a page that is just pet appreciation, and Jimothy shared Zoe, who is celebrating her 7th birthday. She was on a lot of catnip. Kind of looks like eyes are a little crossed. Oh, that's wonderful. That's so funny. That's so cute. So yeah. Anyway, again, oh. Loxy shared a picture of Len. That's so cute. Little unicorn. Oh, this is why you need to join the Discord if you're a member or a Twitch sub. This is why you got to do it. That's why you got to do it. Oh my goodness. So cute. Anyway, where's my cat? I just realized I haven't posted pictures of Hermione and Finley in there. I need to do that. Anyway, you guys are wonderful. I'm going to call the stream there, and we will be back on Wednesday. We've been going for a good long while, so I'm feeling good, and I have to pee and eat, so I'm going to do that. You guys are wonderful. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for the ridiculously generous super chats, membership subs, all of that stuff. You guys are amazing. Thank you for that. And you guys are fantastic. And I love you dearly, okay? I'll see you guys soon, okay? Hugs and kisses, everybody. Salute. Again, join the Discord if you can. Love to see you there, okay? Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye. Mwah.